After taking a day off for the rain yesterday, the Harwich Mariners are back in action here at White House Field, taking on the Chatham Anglers, looking to improve their record against the East. Tim Foley alongside my broadcast partner Tyler Henry. And we have a Mariners team here who again missed their game yesterday against Cotuit. It was rained out, supposed to be at Lowell Park, the one time the Mariners were going to visit in Cotuit, I should say, all season long, but they do not, and so instead they're back here at home after a 5-3 victory over the YD Red Sox, a team which had eluded them throughout the beginning of the season, but the Mariners were finally able to pick one up. Tyler, welcome into the broadcast here. I'll ask you, kind of what was the key for the Mariners to be able to pick up that win on Thursday?
Yeah, it was something that we've kind of seen start to develop here, and that was early runs. Harwich did not fall behind early in that game, didn't have to try to battle their way back, and that gave a lot of confidence to the starting pitcher in Trey Dombrowski. So anytime you can get that early run support for your guy, you're going to give him a lot of confidence going forward, and they can do the exact same thing for Billy Seidel today if they can find a way to get on the scoreboard here early on.
Well, as mentioned, Billy Seidel, the starting pitcher for the Mariners, the righty out of Duke. First pitch dealt into Danny Soretti, misses up high. Let's run you down the Chatham starting lineup. Batting first, the second baseman, Danny Soretti. Batting second, the right fielder, Matthew Hogan. Batting third, the center fielder, Jake DeLeo. Batting fourth, the first baseman, Lyle Miller Green. Batting fifth, the catcher, Maxwell Romero Jr. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Josh Rivera. Batting seventh, the third baseman, Johnny Castagnazzi. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, number 14, Michael Brown, and batting ninth, the left fielder, Caden Trenkle. As the count here is 1-1 to Soretti. Swinging and missing. It's a 1-2 count now here. Billy Seidel still looking for his first decision of the season. His first start was in the 5-2 win over Hyannis, did not get the decision, and then pitched 4 innings in his last start against Bourne. That game that ended up having the 2-hour lightning delay. Ended up being a 1-1 tie. Ball skied in the air. Shortstop Hughes is back to make the catch, and there's one out in the top of the first.
Yep, working quickly here, and that's kind of what he needs to do. Again, you mentioned a pretty good day, or a pretty good performance for him last time out in that game against Bourne. Pitched 4 innings, gave up just the 2 hits, no runs come across, but again, one of those days where Harwich wasn't able to get the run support necessary to come away with a victory. Kind of been a common theme here, and as that run support picks up, a lot of these pitchers starting to feel just a little bit more confident here.
This brings up Matthew Hogan, the right fielder. First pitch dealt to him is fouled straight back to the face of our producer, Matt Lucy. Thankfully, Matt, we got some protection there for you. It's an 0-1 count here to Hogan. Hogan, across his last 5 games, really across his whole season, as he's only played 5 games for the Anglers so far. He's only got 1 hit in 12 at-bats, has not had the greatest success at the plate so far. He's behind the count here, 0-2.
Tim, let's not let this moment pass us by. That's a flinch by a CCBL veteran. Second-year producer, Matt Lucy, behind a window and a screen.
And a laptop.
And a laptop. Plenty of protection up there, and an aggressive flinch from the 2-year vet.
The 0-2 pitch fouled back. We'll do it again.
You talk about a sophomore slump. I mean, typically that's reserved for the guys on the field, but occasionally it happens up here, happens to the best of us. That'll be an 0-2 count. But back to your point here about the guys on the field, as you mentioned here, Tim, this is a Chatham team very inconsistent offensively so far this season. It'll be interesting to see which Chatham we get here in this one.
Seidel winds up for the 0-2 pitch. Ball popped up, and that one's going to be a blooper out into center field. A 1-out single for Matthew Hogan.
Yeah, and again, that wasn't solid contact. You could kind of tell he was sitting on the wrong pitch, had to just lunge his bat out at it. And fortunately for him, it's able to drop down there in right center. And there's a runner aboard here for the Chatham Anglers. Consequently, Tim, they now have the same number of hits in this game as they did last night in a game in which they put up 4 runs.
Yes, it was a grand slam last night that gave Chatham all 4 of their runs. Chatham team not unfamiliar with the grand slam as well against this Harwich team. Last time out, hit a grand slam in the first inning last time these two teams faced off here at White House Field. Ball is fouled off. Count goes to 0-1.
Yeah, you and I are both fans of some of kind of the fun stats that you get with these teams. And when it comes to the superlatives and guys being on the top or the bottom of the league, this is one of those matchups between Harwich and Chatham. A lot of those numbers we'll get into throughout the broadcast.
Seidel's 0-1, misses inside the strike zone. It does find the zone. Count goes to 0-2. Harwich coming into today, coming in on a 4-game home winning streak. That's the longest in the league so far this season, dating all the way back to June 27th. And it started with that win against this Chatham team. They since have beaten Catuit, Wareham, and YD. So some success against some East teams at home recently. We know that they've been able to match up well against the West. It's about finding consistency against these teams that you're going to face off against more often, and a good chance to grab some points against a team that's currently in the bottom of the division here, as the 0-2 pitch is in for a called strike 3. That'll be out number 2. First strikeout of the day from Billy Seidel.
Yeah, and that's a big one because now you've got a guy coming up here in Lyle Miller Green. You mentioned it. This is a Chatham team that has not exactly been raking this season, but that stops with this guy. Lyle Miller Green leads the team in RBIs with 15, leads the team in home runs with 5. He's been doing a majority of the damage so far this season. Talking about a team here that only has 53 ribbies on the year, 15 of them belong to the man standing at the plate right now.
And including 7 in his last 5 games, as this one finds a way in. 0-1 is the count. Hitting .353 across his last 5, Lyle Miller Green. He's, as mentioned, been one of the better hitters for this Anglers squad of late. Have not been able to find all that much consistency at the plate. Matthew Hogan still stands on first after the 0-1 is fouled back by Miller Green. Coming over to pick up that ball, the catcher, Romero Jr., he's on deck for Chatham. He's hoping to come up to bat this inning. It'll take Miller Green to get a base hit or a walk to be able to do so. Seidel, he's got 1 strikeout already. Nods. And delivers. Runner goes. Check swing. And Levens is going to hold on to it because he thinks that the batter in Miller Green went around. He did not, however, says first base umpire Chuck Furlong. And so runner safe at second as the inning does continue.
Yeah, and give him credit there again. I mean, he's going to reach second, and this is where we've seen so far this year Lyle Miller Green doing some of his best work, an opportunity to drive another run in here and put Chatham on top. They've fallen behind in a lot of these games. Even their victories seems to have been kind of in comeback fashion here in 2021.
A 1-2 pitch, fouled straight back. They'll do it again. Let's take a moment to run you down the Harwich defense. Doing the catching for Seidel today is Levens behind the plate. The infield from right to left, you have Carter Putz at first, Max Codier at second, Hal Hughes at short, Brock Wilkin at third. Outfield from left to right, Josh Hood, Chris Newell, and Ben Malgiri. A lot of these guys slotting back in where they've been. Wilkin and Putz both having been at first and third for a majority of this team's games ever since Putz has come in. 1-2 count. That one misses. Count here 2-2. And we see Hughes slotted back over at shortstop. Preisner really had been the everyday starter at short. He has the day off. Allows Codier to slot in at second. Hughes at short. It's a 2-2 count here to Lyle Miller Green. Matthew Hogan still stands on second. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Did he go around? He did. Got him this time, says Chuck Furlong, and so that will end the inning. Strikeout number 2 for Billy Seidel. We move now to the bottom of the first inning. Nothing on the board yet. We'll see Levens, Newell, and Wilkin for the Mariners. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field here. Bottom of the first inning between the Harwich Mariners and Chatham Anglers. Let's run down the Harwich Mariners starting lineup here on this cloudy Saturday afternoon. The catcher Tatum Levens will lead off. Chris Newell in center field, he'll bat second. Brock Wilkin at third, he'll bat third. Carter Putz at first, he'll clean up. Press Kavanaugh, the designated hitter, he'll bat fifth. Ben Malgeri, the right fielder, he'll bat sixth. Josh Hood, the left fielder, he'll bat seventh. Max Codier, the second baseman, he'll bat eighth. And Hal Hughes, the shortstop, he'll bat ninth. On the mound here today for Chatham, Adam Tulloch. Tulloch, the lefty for the Anglers on the mound today. He kicks and delivers. First pitch dealt to Levens is in for a called strike. Tulloch, he's got some good numbers for the Anglers so far this season. He's yet to have a decision, but this season he's pitched in 3 games, started just 1. He's struck out 16 batters, only walked 2, so a pretty good strikeout to walk ratio. Last time out on July 5th, pitched 4 innings against Hyannis, gave up just 2 hits, walked 2, and struck out 8 across 4 innings. That's half the batters he faced. He's got a 2-1 count, now a 2-2 count as Levens. He swings, makes it a 2-2 count here. Levens, he's had a lot of success for the Mariners as of late. He's currently on a 6-game on-base streak when it comes to home games. He does go down swinging here, however, so it's the first strikeout of the day for Tulloch.
Yeah, and this is one interesting thing about this Chatham squad. They have, I mean, again, they've played in 2 more games than the rest of the league has because of the way the rainout schedule has worked, but this is a team that even on averages, I believe, does lead the CCBL both in strikeouts as a pitching staff and also strikeouts as a batting or as a lineup. So, you know, it can make for some pretty quick games. You're talking about a game yesterday where they tied 4-4, but they had just 1 hit. Actually set a new CCBL record for this season for strikeouts in a single game. 19 Ks for the lineup yesterday for Chatham.
Yes, certainly, and you see that a lot, these high teens strikeouts, but that really is unprecedented this season. Of course, as you said, set the season record. 0-1 count to Chris Newell. Flies up. Third baseman Castagnazzi comes over to try and make the catch. It goes foul. We'll take this moment to run down the Chatham defense now. Doing the catching today for the Anglers, Maxwell Romero Jr. Lyle Miller Green's over at first. Over at second base is Danny Soretti. Over at shortstop, Josh Rivera. Over at third is Johnny Castagnazzi. Trenkel is in left, DeLeo's in center, and Hogan is in right. 0-2 pitch. That one misses up high, 92 miles an hour, 1-2.
Yeah, but you see here, Tulloch not wasting any time at all going at these batters. He's already out ahead of Chris Newell, 1-2. He was 0-2 there, and got ahead of Tatum Levens as well. So not a guy that's afraid to pound the zone here.
Pitch missing outside. Count now evens out. Newell taking the last 2 ones for balls. Strike 3 called. Down goes Chris Newell. Back-to-back Ks to open up the game for Tulloch.
Yep, good start here for him. Again, he's had the command of his off-speed, and he's really had that fastball working early. I know he's only two batters into this outing, but both guys, he attacked him quickly, established the fastball, and then he was able to have the freedom to come back with some of the off-speed stuff.
And now you have a bit of a taller task here with Brock Wilkin coming up to the plate, batting .375 across his last 5 games. He's got a home run and 3 RBI as well over that span. He really has been excellent, including his game on Thursday against YD. Got on base 3 times with walks. He's a patient guy. Although, of course, with Tulloch, he's going to go after these batters. But came around to score twice. Really has been a force to deal with at the plate as he's facing a 1-1 count.
Well, we talked about, you know, this is a Chatham team that has the current record for the most strikeouts in a single game. Harwich on the other side of that, 11 walks against Falmouth, the most walks in a single game. So as a foul tip here by Brock Wilkin is sent back to the stands here. It's just this is kind of what Harwich has done. They've been patient, they've picked their spots, and I feel like it's a point we've talked to death, but long at bats is something the Mariners do better than any other team in the league, really better than a lot of baseball teams that I've seen at any level.
They do lead the CCBL in walks at this moment in time with 69. The 1-2 pitch misses up high. It's 2-2.
Yep, and now again, a 2-strike count here. Wilkins going to have to be careful. Already 2 strikeouts from the previous guys, and we'll see if their notes can help him avoid the same fate.
We'll see what Tulloch opts to go with here. Bases are empty. Time's called. Looks like the catcher, Romero Jr., decided to call for it. Wilkin, he'll step back in, tap the plate with his bat. Tulloch delivers. Pitch misses up high. Count now full, 3-2.
Yeah, but now he has to drop something in the zone. No more pitches left to waste. And this is where Wilkin does some of his best work. 3-ball counts. We've seen him really attack. So this is going to be a fun chess match on one pitch.
He takes a pitch. Called strike 3. 3 strikeouts to open up the game from Adam Tulloch. We move now to the top of the second inning. We'll see Romero Jr., Rivera, and Castagnazzi for the Anglers. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back into White House Field here. Max Romero Jr. leading off the second inning for the Anglers. So far, a lot of strikeouts in this one. 5 strikeouts from these 2 starters across the first 6 outs of the game. We're now here in the second inning. Seidel still on the bump. First pitch thrown into Romero Jr.'s, fouled off to his left. Count 0-1.
Yeah, 2 guys that do really like to attack the hitter. That's kind of the scouting report that we got on Billy Seidel coming into the season as well. You know, you talk about a lot of guys that aren't afraid to keep things in and around the zone. Obviously, every pitcher has to be close, but some guys try to get a little bit cute with it. Seidel, not one of those.
This ball hit on the ground. Wilkin picks it up on a tough hop. Throw on to first in time, and there's one down in the second inning.
Yeah, that looks very routine, but that's a great play over there by Brock Wilkin. Plays it off the short hop, secures it into the glove, and then delivers a good strike to Carter Putz for the out.
This brings up Josh Rivera, one of the only other guys on this Anglers squad, aside from Lyle Miller-Green, who's had some success at the plate lately, hitting .400 in his last 5 games, 4 for 10, along with 2 runs and an RBI. He's got the bases empty here. Seidel from the stretch. First pitch, in for a called strike, 0-1. That one at 91 miles an hour, just on the outside part of the plate. Ball skipping in the dirt, and count evens up at 1-1. Some other Cape League action going on today, except for Falmouth and Orleans. Their game was canceled due to field conditions, so they will have to hold off and For Orleans, of course, lost their game yesterday, lost their game again today. And for Harwich, that's an opportunity to pick up more points in this East Division. If you're able to beat Chatham, and you already just beat YD. And of course, the way the point system's working this year is you get a percentage of the points over the amount of games you played. So of course for Orleans, it'll even out in the end with how well they've played. But even still, if these extra games for Harwich are wins, they're ultimately in their favor. The 1-2 pitch held off of by Rivera outside now, 2-2.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a great thing for the Orleans Firebirds if they would have lost to Falmouth today, but if they would have beaten them, it can go against them. So it kind of does go both ways with the points per game system. With the shortened season this year, certainly makes it unique.
2-2 pitch misses down low at 83. Count runs full.
And of course, with the exception of Bourne and Hyannis, I think everyone in the league is just really bunched up right now. A lot of very close teams in proximity to each other in the standings. Again, Bourne kind of has a stranglehold on the West right now. Hyannis falling very quickly out of things.
Ball chopped on the ground, foul back. Count stays full. And it's difficult because we're getting to that point where you're getting your roster for the whole summer. And so with some of these teams, you're actually seeing what they're going to be like for the rest of the summer. So a tough going for Hyannis early on, and perhaps lately here when some of the other teams lose draft guys, things can even out a bit as that ball runs inside on Josh Rivera. He'll move down to first. First walk of the day issued by Billy Seidel.
Yeah, and it's brutal because you're now talking about a Hyannis team that dating back to 2019 is 9-44 in their last 53 games. I mean, that is just absolutely brutal. But, it's one of those things they have an opportunity to turn around depending on who they may or may not be losing to the draft here in this next weekend or so. And we'll see what kind of a team they have moving forward. Just tough to dig yourself out of that hole.
Johnny Castagnazzi, the new batter for Chatham. It's an 0-1 count. And you talk about a Hyannis team that has not been playing its greatest ball. This is a Harwich team which has been putting it together as of late. That was one of the questions that we were asking once some guys started coming in from the College World Series. What kind of impact would they have? How would this team start to mesh together? But they're 4-1-2 in their last 7 games. They've picked up points in 6 of their last 7, and it's starting to look good for this Harwich team as of late. The 0-1 count, foul back, now 0-2.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple proposition this year when you're talking about a points per game system to determine who makes the playoffs. And I think YD figured out the model here early. Just don't lose. I mean, really, that's all you have to do. YD has the same number of wins as the 2 teams that would be tied with them, but with 4 ties, they've essentially picked up 2 bonus wins. So the loss is really the only thing that can hurt you. You find a way to salvage at least 1 point, you're going to be in a good shape. And Harwich has certainly done that. It would still be good to see them get a winning streak. So we got a quick toss over to first base here. Still have not had a winning or losing streak thanks to the ties. But as you mentioned, they have really done an excellent job here over the course of their last 6 or 7.
Yeah, Harwich has not won or lost 3 or more games at any point during this season. They have, as this ball lined out to center field, pulled down by Newell. And there's 2 down now in the top of the 2nd inning. Harwich has won their last 4 at home, for what that's worth. Now, of course, that's worth a lot when you're playing half your games at home.
Yep, also helps when you have, so far I believe Harwich has had 3 games canceled due to weather conditions, and I know for a fact 1 at home against Orleans, 1 on the road against Katuitt. I'm trying to remember that 3rd rainout that we've had so far this year that didn't get played. Oh, it was here at home against Brewster.
That's right.
So unfortunately, they have lost 2 games at home, but that's another thing that tends to even itself out throughout the season.
As picked off at first is going to be Rivera. He was caught sleeping. Tag applied from Max Codier, and the inning will end. Pardon me, Hal Hughes. We move now to the bottom of the 2nd inning. 3 up, 3 down for the Anglers. We'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. The 4, 5, 6 batters coming up. Carter Putz, Press Kavanaugh, Ben Malgiri for the Mariners. Each of them going to look to just put a bat on a ball here. First 3 batters for Harwich in that first inning, all striking out. 1 swinging, 2 looking. Adam Tulloch dealing so far. First pitch into Putz, however, misses up high, and he falls behind 1-0.
Well, and that's what we talked about. I mean, I didn't give the specific numbers. As a batting staff, they have 129 strikeouts this year. As a pitching staff, 168. They've been fanning a ton of hitters this season.
Putz fouls one off. Count evens out at 1-1.
But it's interesting because the pitching numbers are pretty good for Chatham so far this season, but the offense just has not been there. Part of the reason that while things are still very close, they are currently sitting in the basement of that Eastern Conference.
Chatham currently only above Hyannis in batting average, batting 200 on the season. Hyannis at that 173 mark. Count here 2-1 to Carter Putz. He'll slice one off. Count now 2-2. Putz, a guy who, again, has been having a lot of success for the Mariners across these past 5 games, as a lot of these guys have, batting 300. 6 for 20. He's got 5 RBI in that span. Been an excellent addition for these Mariners at the plate. The 2-2 pitch from Tulloch. He'll send this one out, slicing into right. Catching it is Hogan, and leadoff man off in the second inning here.
Yep, and again, it seems like Harwich has been able to get the wood on the ball, just haven't really been able to barrel anything up so far. I think every single batter's had at least 1 foul tip here so far, so it's not like these are all swings and misses, but they count the same way on the scoreboard, and big part of the reason why, at least through the first 4 batters here, very, very early. Nothing in terms of base runners for the Mariners.
Now you have Press Kavanaugh, the designated hitter today for Harwich. Takes the first ball he sees, hits it foul down the third base line.
I almost hit that one on the other side of the... I wouldn't necessarily call that a shift, but they do have the third baseman in Castagnazzi playing a little bit further off the back. Wonder if he gets a little bit closer to it. It looks like he will on this occasion.
0-1 pitch. This one hit right at the shortstop, Rivera. He'll throw on to first in time to record the out. Quickly 2 down here for the Mariners. And they are going down quickly so far in this inning. Ben Malgiri is going to try to slow down the pace of this inning because Tulloch's really just been running things as much as he'd like to this point.
Yeah, he's been working at a pretty quick pace, but he's also, again, when you talk about a guy that pounds the zone as much as what Tulloch does, you're going to get a lot of balls put in play. And when those balls aren't barreled up well, you're going to get a lot of quick outs.
First pitch into Malgiri, misses up high, 82.
And that may be part of the reason why here you see Malgiri take a pitch. Just wants a second to see something, and now he'll settle in and get back to work.
He'll take a hack at that one. Can't catch up to it. 91 on that one. Count here now 1-1 to Malgiri. Malgiri's come through in a few big spots recently for the Mariners. The 1-1 count misses. 1-2 now. In that game against Wareham, Malgiri ended up being the tying run in the top of the 9th inning that helped Harwich secure a point, and that's another asset, another facet of this this Mariners game that we really haven't seen so far this season is late inning offense as well. A lot of it's been coming in the middle innings, but we haven't seen a lot when they're behind. As Malgiri swings and misses, count now full. That was a good gut check game for Harwich. You have the lightning delay, you give up a home run, really a similar situation to what they had in Bourne. And then this time, however, they're able to respond with a run of their own after Wareham scores. Another foul here from Malgiri. Count stays full, 3-2.
Yeah, something about lightning delays resulting in ties here for the Harwich Mariners. We've seen it twice, and that's been the result both times. So wonder if we might end up finding a way to go 3-for-3. Of course, hoping that we don't have another lightning delay the rest of the year.
Ball fouled back, 3-2. I believe 3 times is a pattern.
Yes, that feels about right.
So we will take that 3rd time to see if it holds true or not. Of course, hoping not, but we have had some interesting weather as of late. Wasn't all that hectic where I was yesterday in Harwich. It was a bit windy. Rain wasn't all that much, but it was enough to wipe out 4 of the 5 games. And, of course, Chatham being on the elbow of the Cape, just missing the storm yesterday. 3-2 pitch misses, is fouled back. Count stays full.
Yeah, you've also got a lot of those games that were supposed to be played early. Of course, we were supposed to be getting started at 5 o'clock and get to it. So you had a little bit more time to kind of let the field dry, something you can do when you have lights out in Chatham, and that helped them get that game in.
3-2 pitch again, fouled back. A nice battle from Malgeri here. And of course, you get these grounds crews across the Cape that all do an excellent job at making sure these fields are ready and playable. And I saw plenty of pictures where those Chatham groundskeepers were working hard in the hours leading up to first pitch. And here today for this game, no BP, no in and outs for either team. But really, these pitchers have been taking care of a lot of the work as Malgeri again fouls one off. Hey,
yeah,
good battle here.
Yeah, not quite a classic show and go. Obviously, the teams both getting here well ahead of the game. But yeah, when you don't take in and outs, and obviously no BP today, kind of a bit of an interesting start.
Down swinging goes Malgeri, lost the bat on the cut. That's the fourth strikeout of the day from Adam Tulloch. We move now to the top of the third inning. Still 0-0 Mariners and Anglers. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here at White House Field, top of the third inning. It'll be Michael Brown, Caden Trinkle, and Danny Soretti due up for Chatham. Brown, the designated hitter today for Chatham. Seidel still on the mound, being efficient so far. Both of these pitchers being rather efficient so far. And that's something you really don't get a whole lot of efficiency at times, or at least when you go later into the games. So both pitchers off to an excellent start as Seidel fouls this one back, 1-1. Pardon me, Brown fouling it back.
And you and I kind of talked about this during the break. You know, no BP for any of these guys. Kind of just, you know, the first swings these guys are taking are to live pitching here in the game. So certainly part of the reason that the pitchers may have gotten off to a good start. You wonder how long it'll take for these guys to get comfortable.
Pitch on the outside part of the plate, reached after by Brown. Misses. It's 1-2.
And this is kind of an interesting spot for Michael Brown to be hitting. And typically, if you want that rollover guy, you put him down in the 9-hole. They've got him in the 8-hole. Michael Brown hitting .364, easily the best batting average on the team in an 8-game sample size. So kind of an interesting placement here by Tom Holliday. This pitch will miss. That'll even the count here at 2-2. And yeah, I mean, again, you've got an offense that's kind of struggling. Maybe you just want to have a little more consistency throughout. But again, typically you don't see a guy with the best average on the team hitting down in the 8-hole, especially if he's the DH.
Yeah, certainly an interesting move as the 2-2 pitch just misses. Must have been on the inside part of the plate. Count runs full. Not quite sure what goes into a decision like that.
Yep, and now he's got a 3-2 count on him. So an opportunity here for a quick out by Billy Seidel if he can come back and get him on a payoff pitch.
The 3-2 On the outside part of the plate, he'll walk him. That's the second walk of the day from Seidel.
Yep, and I believe Seidel that time missing just upstairs with the changeup.
Yeah, Seidel, he does have a few walks this season, issued 3 in his last outing against Bourne across 4 innings pitched. This now brings up Caden Trenkle. Seidel on the mound, he's working with the fastball, slider, and changeup. First pitch here to Trenkle, chopped on the ground, picked up by Codier. Takes a peek at second, throw on to first to record the out, and that will allow Brown to advance.
Yeah, Brown, a lot of good speed there. Don't believe he took off early. It wasn't a hit and run situation, but still, even on a ball hit relatively well to Codier, he's able to reach second base. Of course, Brown stepped in front of Codier. Normally would have been able to run a little bit up towards the lip of the grass there to make that play, but instead he had to wait for the ball to come to him. So a runner in scoring position with 1 out for the top of the order.
This brings up Soretti. Flew out to Hal Hughes over at shortstop to open up the game. Currently 1 out. Brown on second. First pitch in for a called strike. There's a good pitch there from Seidel. Just reaching the outside part of the plate. He's got 2 strikeouts so far. Also got 2 walks. This ball off the end of the bat, out towards foul territory and left. Hood, looks like he was set up a little more towards center. Had to make a long run over towards the foul territory and left field. Did not have a whole lot of a chance at that one.
Yeah, and talking about, again, kind of the formation here of the roster for the Harwich Mariners, it feels like the infield is pretty much set. We're seeing a lot of the guys that we're going to see. Carter Putz, I feel like his bats, Putz and Wilkin on the corner is probably never going to be taken out of the lineup unless there's some kind of an issue with wanting to rest those guys up. I'll finish this here after this next pitch by Billy Seidel.
Time call. Go ahead.
Yeah, might as well finish it right now. But things are a little bit different in the outfield. Ben Malgiri has had a pretty good season so far. Prez Kavanaugh's had a pretty good season as well. But, only 2 other guys really available there. Still trying to sort things out.
0-2 pitch hit on to Hughes at short. Makes a nice dive to make the catch. Throw it to first in time. 2 outs in the third.
Well, first of all, beautiful play there by Hal Hughes. That is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but he is back in his traditional spot, back in his natural habitat over there at shortstop. Does move the runner up to third base in Michael Brown, so a potential first run of the day just 90 feet away. But just to really quickly kind of wrap that thought up here, it was interesting to see with only 4 outfielders on the roster, the departure of Cade Beloso, who is no longer with the team. But we have seen some of the guys listed as infielders getting some work in the outfield, and that certainly might have something to do with it.
Josh Hood being one of those guys. We've seen him slot in over at third as well this season. As first pitch dealt into Matthew Hogan. Misses for ball 1. Hood out in left today, playing out of NC State. 1-0 count here to Hogan. Singled his last at-bat. Takes a hack at 1 here. 1-1.
Yeah, big swing and a miss there. Seidel not afraid to go down in the dirt that time with what looked like a change-up and evens the count, as you mentioned. So he's going to have to be a little bit more careful here, not trying to allow that first run with good speed to come in. But with 2 away, you got to feel a little more comfortable.
1-1 pitch misses down in the dirt. Of course, you want to be careful with the guy standing on third, but the best thing you can do to deal with him is just focus on the guy who's at home. You have 2 outs. You can keep it within your reach. Strike the guy out. Don't have to rely on your defense to have to make a play. It's a 2-1 count here. Levens can't frame that one. Count now moves to 3-1.
Yep, and you've got the only guy who got a hit off you the first time through the order standing on deck in standing at the plate in Matthew Hogan. So, that may be in the back of his mind a little bit. He struck the next 2 guys out, but they are 2 of the better hitters in this lineup for Chatham.
3-1 pitch. Misses outside. That'll be the 3rd walk of the day from Billy Seidel. He walked Brown earlier this inning, who now stands over on third. And now you have Jake DeLeo coming up to bat.
Tim, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. I think Jake DeLeo's jersey is maybe a size too large. Definitely has the top button undone, kind of rocking the LA Surfer look.
It's a style, Tyler. Get with it, please.
I don't know if you want that, Tim.
I don't know. I certainly would not look good with the top button undone. 1-0 count here to DeLeo.
Do want to make a quick, I guess, correction, if you want to call it that, to something I had said earlier. I mentioned Cade Beloso no longer with the team. Beloso is draft eligible. Did have to double check on that. So he is departing for that purpose. As this one in for a strike. As have a lot of guys here for the Harwich Mariners. We've seen a lot of draft departures, much like every other team on the Cape, but a lot of guys that did help Harwich get to this point, and now it's up to the remaining roster to go the rest of the way and try to lead Harwich into one of those top 2 spots.
And this seems like it's a good group of guys for this Harwich team as the 1-1 ball gets away from Levens. Brown's going to charge home. Seidel passing to Levens. The tag at the plate. Safe. Brown is safe. The runner moves to third, and Matthew Hogan. The ball got away from Levens out to his left, and Brown hesitated enough that Seidel was able to run over and make it a close play at the plate, but even still, Brown gets a hand in.
Well, and that was a bizarre play. The ball gets off of Levens, obviously goes down the line, but anytime you see the catcher keep it in front of him, you assume you're not going to have time to make a break for the plate. So he backtracked to third, saw how far it went, and then turned and ran. I was worried that he was going to collide with Billy Seidel. And then how about this? Seidel delivers a strike to the plate. Levens didn't have to move his glove at all. I thought he may have been out, but the call is safe, and just like that, Chatham on the board, they lead at 1-0.
It was about as close as you could have had it if you're Harwich to not getting the out. It was a really excellently placed throw from Seidel into the glove of Levens. And on the 2-1 count, this one chopped by DeLeo. Hughes picks it up. Throw out to first is in time. They do record the third out, but a wild pitch allows Michael Brown to come home to score. It's 1-0 Chatham. We move now to the bottom of the third inning. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The 7, 8, 9 batters due up for Harwich. Josh Hood, Max Codier, and Hal Hughes. Hood out in left today. First pitch from Tulloch. This one skied up. Charging in at it, the center fielder DeLeo. He'll make the catch. One away on one pitch in the bottom of the third.
Yep, very, very quick work here. It's been consistent. It's been a very consistently efficient outing here for Adam Tulloch, at least through the first part of this. He has retired the first 7 guys he's faced, and now we'll try to do it against the bottom third with Max Codier and Hal Hughes due up next.
He's done it with 4 strikeouts as well. 2 swinging, 2 looking. Max Codier, as mentioned, he steps up to the plate. Codier, he's got a hit in 3 at-bats in his last 5 games. That's all he seems to have, as he's ahead in the count here, 2-0. Codier, last time he was in this lineup for Harwich, it was against Brewster, in Brewster. He takes a strike here, 2-1. Went 1 for 3 on that day. Had a single in the third inning. That was really about it. So still, this Harwich team still looking to see what they have from him at the plate. Back-to-back strikes from Tulloch. Moves the count now to 2-2. That last one at 91 miles an hour. Harwich looking to drive a run across to respond to Chatham. This ball hit on the ground, picked up by Castagnazzi. Throw on to first in time. 2 down now in bottom of the third.
Yeah, and not quite a third of the way, or correction, not quite all the way through the order yet with how he was coming to the plate, but that just has vibes of that game earlier this season against the Brewster Whitecaps on the road. A lot of soft contact. Nobody's really been able to square the ball up, and it's not like the strikeout numbers have been through the roof, but so far they have not been given anything either. Talking about a game in which they didn't get a single walk, which is odd for the team that leads the league in walks this year.
Al Hughes, first pitch he sees, pulls it out to right. Catch made by Hogan, and 2 of the outs in this inning on the first pitch that was seen. That'll do it for the third inning. We move now to the fourth. Chatham still leads it 1-0 here at White House Field. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field, Mariners fans. For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. And now for play-by-play for the next 3 innings, my broadcast partner, Tyler Henry.
Thank you so much, Tim. Lyle Miller Green will lead things off here for the Chatham Anglers, a guy that was at the plate when they ended the top of the third. Of course, Matthew Hogan picked, Matthew Hogan picked off to end that one, so he will try to get things started here for the A's. They lead at 1-0 over the Harwich Mariners here at White House Field. First pitch in there for a called strike. Billy Seidel back out for another inning of work, and really, I mean, for Seidel, he's looked pretty good. He's given up just the 1 hit here, the 1 run that comes across on the wild pitch, kind of a chaotic circumstance. Nobody's really squared one up on him so far yet, but Miller Green could be the one to do it as he watches the next pitch in there for a called strike. Count goes to 0-2.
And it's good to see Seidel get ahead in a count like this. He's already given up 3 walks across 3 innings pitched, and he's only gotten 2 strikeouts across the first 3 innings. So I want to see him try to be a bit more aggressive on the mound there and challenge these Chatham hitters who have had some troubles.
0-2, that one will be in there. Late strike 3 called by home plate umpire Mike Rabideau, but that will be strikeout number 3 on the day for Billy Seidel. And that'll bring up Maxwell Romero Jr.
Just what I was talking about. Goes right after a guy right down the middle. Called strike 3. Lyle Miller Green didn't get a good look at it. That's a good guy to strike out if you're Seidel.
Absolutely. Lyle Miller Green, as we mentioned, leading this team in RBIs and home runs, but 0 for 2 with a pair of Ks today. Next batter up is Maxwell Romero Jr. First pitch misses in the dirt, and Tim, I know you were very engrossed in that Milton Cat ad read during the break, but I don't know if you saw it or not. On the throw down to second that they do, of course, every inning after the warm-up pitches, Tatum Levens put one into center field. He is not lacking for arm strength today. Maybe had an extra workout this morning. You never know.
I mean, he's an energetic guy. I mean, you had a chance to interview him.
Absolutely. Next pitch will miss down and away. Count goes to 2-0, and after getting ahead of the last batter, he'll fall behind Maxwell Romero Jr. 2-0. We've had a chance to interview a lot of these guys so far this season up to this point. You can always check those out on our Twitter, at Harwich Mariners. Be sure to go follow one of the only 3 verified Twitter accounts for CCBL teams.
That's right.
The latest addition to the Checkmark Club, as the count here to 3-0. Romero Jr. looking to get something going here for a Chatham team that's been very inconsistent on the offensive side of things. 3-0 is in there for a called strike, and that'll bring the bat off the shoulder of Romero. And, you know, it's unfortunate. We've had a lot of fun interviewing some of the guys that have departed, but you mentioned it before, Tim. Great energy from the guys that are still here, especially out in that bullpen. That is a fun bunch of guys, as it typically is. 3-2. Will miss for ball 4, and it's a walk issued, the 4th of the day, this time to Maxwell Romero Jr. That brings up Josh Rivera.
Yeah, some control issues so far for Seidel. As just mentioned, 4 walks so far. I want to see him be more aggressive, more assertive with throwing strikes. I mean, these Chatham guys, if they're able to get contact with the ball, you have to trust your defense. It's tough to defend walks. You can't just keep giving guys these free bases.
Yep, so we'll see if he can battle his way back here. Of course, it was a walk that started things off back in the 3rd inning as the ball swung on and taken up the middle. Trying to get a glove on it is Codier. He cannot, and the runner does over-pursue second base, but nobody covering. That'll put runners on first and second here for the Anglers. 1 away, and just the 2nd hit of the day, but because of those walks, a number of base runners that have been here, as Johnny Castagnazzi steps to the plate. We'll get there eventually, Tim.
At some point. Might not be today.
So Castagnazzi digs in here. Again, runners on first and second. 1 away here after the strikeout by Seidel. Billy Seidel, one of the most durable arms for this Harwich Mariners team. We know that he's capable of eating up innings. Trying to go deep into this one after a very deep starting appearance. This ball swung on and taken out into center field. Pursuing it back is Newell. That's going to drop, and it will roll to the fence. This is going to score at least 1. Newell can't handle it out in center. That's going to score 2. Runner turns and heads for 3rd. And again, the ball misplayed on the relay from Chris Newell to Hal Hughes. And it's going to be a stand-up, bases-clearing triple for Johnny Castagnazzi. And the Chatham Anglers lead it 3-0.
Well, right off the bat, that hit from Castagnazzi, you take a look at it, it looked like it was well within the range of Chris Newell, but as it started to drift further and further into the outfield, it tailed more and more into that gap in right center field, just peeling away from Newell. It gave him a tough angle to try and pick it up at, and then, you know, it's been raining here today in Harwich. I have to imagine the field wet out there, and so that makes for a wet baseball. It can be tough to handle at times. And so full credit to Chatham, but some misfortune for Harwich.
Good stop here by Tatum Levens. Count will start off at 1-0 to Michael Brown, and maybe this is why you put Michael Brown's bat down in the 8 hole. He's got an opportunity to drive in a run here. The leader in batting average on this team. Batting average is an overrated stat, at least in, I think, most statisticians' opinions, but it is still a decent measure here, and if you're looking at that, Brown is currently leading this team, looking to keep that streak going. He'll take a strike here that'll even it up at 1-1. How do you feel about that? I'm curious, Tim. What's your thought on batting average as a stat?
I mean, it's all about context. I think that it can have a lot more value when you compare it to things like slugging and on-base percentage, and it just really those 3 I like to look at to get a full picture as opposed to just average.
Sure. I think that's why a lot of people put a lot of stock into OPS as this ball is swung on and the count goes here to 1-2. And, of course, everybody's got their own opinion on it. One of the things that I noticed, at least when you and I were on Nesson, definitely a generational gap in the way that we talk about some of these things as opposed to the way some of the seasoned veterans who have been around the league talk about it. As the 1-2 is awfully close, but they will call that a ball, and the count goes to 2-2.
And the thing about OPS is one of my gripes with it, probably my only gripe with it, is that, you know, you can have 2 guys who have 800 OPS, but they can be completely different batters. And so it doesn't give you that full image. I'd like to see these lines individually instead of just one lump sum number.
Fair enough. This ball swung on, weak contact, but sent high in the air out to right field, drifting over, making the catch. Runner does tag, throw coming home from Malgiri, and he got him. Ben Malgiri with an absolute cannon in right field makes the catch and guns down the tagging Kazignazi, and that is how the inning will end. But not before 2 more runs come across for Chatham. They lead it 3-1 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley bringing you this one here on a, well, relatively cool, certainly overcast evening, and one of the earlier start times that you'll see here at White House Field. Typically games here getting started around 6:30. This one's starting about an hour before at 5:30, and so far it's been a quick one here, Tim.
It has. I mean, good crowd even still on hand for the earlier start time.
Absolutely. First pitch here swung on and taken back to the screen here by Tatum Levens. Harwich, no luck getting anybody on base the first time through the order, so the top of the order due up here for a second time. Levens will foul the next pitch he sees away. Count goes here to 0-2. Tatum Levens, Chris Newell, Brock Wilkin. These 3 guys all struck out by the pitcher Adam Tulloch, who is back out for another inning. And, you know, we talked about it a little bit. Trey Dombrowski against YD the other day as the 0-2 is fouled away. More of a defensive swing there, trying to keep his, well, just trying to keep everything intact. And that one may have rung in and got him, signaling that it got him on the hand, but maybe just in an effort to make it down to first base, there was Tatum Levens.
Yeah, I mean, you take a pitch like that at 90 miles an hour right up in your face area, you're going to take a second to kind of reflect.
So he shakes off the chin music, although he doesn't stand any further away from the plate. Give him some credit there. Sometimes guys will be brushed off by the pitcher. Not the case here for Tatum Levens. As the count goes to 1-2, that pitch misses just off the outside part of the plate. Good response there by Tulloch after bringing it up and in. Tries to get him on the outside part of the plate. As another pitch fouled away here by Levens, who fights just to stay alive. And it looks like we do have an arm up and getting loose in the Harwich Mariners bullpen here early on, as the 1-2 will miss outside. That'll even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes for Harwich. Out there in the pen, Bo Keithley, one of the few draft-eligible guys still here for the Harwich Mariners.
One last chance to boost your stock.
Absolutely.
Draft starting tomorrow.
And we have seen some good things out of Keithley so far. This one not so great. Tatum Levens a swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts here to start his day. And that is the 5th K on the evening for Adam Tulloch.
I mean, he's had everything going for him so far. He's had great control of his off-speed. His fastball's looked good. Guys haven't been able to catch up to it. So smooth sailing so far for Tulloch. 5 strikeouts through the first 3 1/3.
See how Harwich does the second time through the orders. So far, the only man to come up twice is Tatum Levens. He's been retired with 2 strikeouts. Chris Newell at the dish now takes the first pitch off the plate for ball 1. And he will stand back in, again batting from the left side. The windup and the pitch. And that'll miss. Well, it looked like it missed. I think Chris Newell would agree with me, but I don't have the same angle that Mike Rabideau does. He calls it a strike, and the count even at 1-1.
Yeah, and that's something Harwich needs to do a bit more of is just take some of these pitches.
And just as you say that, way behind that one is Chris Newell.
That's the tricky thing, though, because with the way Tulloch is attacking the strike zone, by the time you take a pitch or two, you're behind in the count to 0-2.
Exactly, and that's the thing you really don't want to do. So we'll see what happens here. Behind in the count anyway is Chris Newell. He's already been struck out once today. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. And that'll miss off the plate outside. But that's what I really like. Newell has been mixing it up a lot. He'll come inside for a strike. He'll go outside for a ball, or we'll see him get one on the outside corner, and then he'll try to tie a guy up high and tight. He's been mixing up his pitch location really, really well tonight, in addition to mixing up what he's throwing, as he gets a narrow contact here by Newell, who fights it off and stays alive.
Yeah, I think we saw this last time around from Chris Newell. He had some pretty good fight at the plate. I think ultimately got it up to a full count, but did go down with the strikeout. So again, he's seeing some of what Tulloch's throwing here, but it's just about barreling it up.
So far, nobody has been able to really barrel one up. This is another really soft contact, maybe too soft, though, as they pick it up, throw to first, not in time. Chris Newell will leg that out for an infield single. Scaretti did everything that he could, but as I mentioned, he didn't exactly square that ball up, and kind of works almost like an aggressive swinging punt to second base. But either way, that'll break up, well, I guess not quite a no-hitter in the fourth inning, but it does put the first man aboard here for Harwich, and with Brock Wilkin at the plate, you never know. The Mariners could turn their fate around here in a hurry.
Yeah, if that ball was hit any harder, that would have been an out for Newell. Just soft enough to have it take its sweet time working over to Scaretti. And then bang, bang play at first. Good hustle from Newell, able to beat it out.
Also not a ball that would have had a chance to reach had he been a right-handed batter, but you're talking about a lefty in the box. That puts the second baseman back on the lip of the outfield grass, and by the time Scaretti stepped up, nothing could be done. For the first time tonight, we'll see Adam Tulloch go out of the stretch here. See if that affects the lefty at all as he brings home the first pitch, and Wilkin takes a big cut and fouls it off. Count goes to 0-1.
Yeah, you want to value this if you're Harwich. You haven't had a whole lot of success at the plate. Value the guy you have on first now. Really try to get something out of this inning, because even with that hit, you're just barely able to eke it out. Try to really get some value out of getting a guy on first with only one out.
Tulloch sets. Ready here, taking a big look, brings home the pitch. Wilkin puts this one high in the air, drifting into foul territory on the right side. Hogan chasing it over, runs out of real estate, and the count goes here to 0-2.
And if you're Harwich, you have to hope that now having a guy on first maybe puts Tulloch off a bit. He has to perhaps change the way he's approaching his pitch, what he's thinking about when he's delivering, and so certainly, again, for Harwich, you don't want to let this opportunity go by you.
And the best part of the lineup up right now as well, you're talking about Wilkin, Putz, Kavanaugh, Malgeri. These are the guys you want hitting in this position. As a quick pickoff move over to first, not in time. Also, I don't know if we had a chance to bring it up, but earlier we saw a runner get picked off for Chatham. They have struggled when it comes to getting caught, either napping and leaning off a bag or trying to swipe a base so far this season. They've been caught more than any other team in the league. As Wilkin tries to battle off an 0-2. We'll see what comes in. Here's the pitch. And that one will miss right above the letters. Count goes to 1-2.
Yeah, Chatham, 18 stolen bases on the season. 14 times they've been caught stealing. Nearly a 1-to-1 ratio there.
Yeah, not an ideal number to put out there here for the Chatham Anglers. Just another piece of their offensive woes in 2021. Wilkin will take this one, a fastball inside. Count even at 2-2. And again, heart of the order looming here for the Harwich Mariners, including Carter Putz, who's due up next. Putz, one of the better guys in terms of RBIs so far this season, certainly in terms of a per-game average. He's been knocking them in ever since he arrived. So Tulloch sets. Here comes the 2-2. Wilkin puts this one just foul down that third base line. That was awfully close, but just on the wrong side of the chalk line. Baseball, like a lot of other sports, certainly a game of inches.
Yes, most certainly. I mean, even going back to that play at the plate earlier where Levens had caught the ball from Seidel, a play that just missed. And, of course, Chatham, they've been able to kind of build off of the momentum they've gained from that since. Runs in their last 2 innings at the plate.
Yep, and again, so far, no one's really squared one up, but that's what Brock Wilkin has done as he hits one high and deep out to left center field, tracking it back to the fence. That'll get down at the warning track, and that is going to score a run. Brock Wilkin stands on second base. It's a double and an RBI. The Harwich Mariners are on the board. Brock Wilkin delivers in the clutch, and with one away, here comes Carter Putz.
Well, there you go, Brock Wilkin, doing what you've been doing all season long, and in a big moment too. You're down in the game early on. You don't want to let it go too long without getting a run or any kind of offensive success, because that can end up bleeding into the rest of your game. So for Wilkin to be able to get a single like that, drive a guy home, it can help inspire the rest of these Mariners bats.
Yeah, I had a chance. I was trying to mention it earlier, and then, of course, a lot of action kind of took away from it. But, you know, I kind of compared this to that Brewster game earlier this year where there just wasn't a lot going on for Harwich offensively. The difference in that game, when they did get their base runners, the very few times that they didn't find a way to do anything with it. And that kind of does lose the confidence of the lineup when you see guy after guy set down, as this one misses inside, and now we start to see a little less confidence perhaps from Adam Tulloch. But, you know, again, to see the Harwich Mariners come back and respond the way that they did, and now you have one of your RBI leaders at the plate with a runner in scoring position, and he also represents the tying run himself here in inning number 4. The 1-0 misses off the outside part of the plate. Count goes to 2-0.
And now this is just what you want if you're Harwich. You have Carter Putz. He's ahead in the count here, 2-0. Tulloch here now rethinking some of these pitches, not going after guys as much this second time around.
So far for Carter Putz, he's played in 10 games. He has 12 hits, 6 RBIs. So watch this one just off the plate. And here we go, Tim, as you start to see Adam Tulloch not quite pounding the zone the way he was earlier. That invincibility has kind of been taken away from him mentally, and he falls behind 3-0.
And to his credit, that was a close pitch there. We had to wait a second to see if it was going to be another late strike call from the umpire.
See if Putz is swinging away on a 3-0. He is not. That one just in there for a strike, and the count goes to 3-1. So big chance here for the Mariners, trying to continue their streak in the 4th inning. Just 2 guys have gotten on, just 2 hits, but it's been enough to score a run. And a great hitter's count here to Carter Putz, who fouls this away, and now it's a full count. So give credit where credit is due. Tulloch fights his way back, and he is 1 strike away from getting the second out of the inning.
So you've seen a pretty good array if you're Putz at this point. I believe he struck out on flew out to right on the first pitch he saw his last at-bat, but this time around he's seeing a lot more. So he's going to have a good expectation of what to expect.
Payoff pitch. Fouled off again. Good job of battling here by Carter Putz, who has 1 flyout on the day. And again, the danger is not done if you get through Putz, especially not done if you get Putz on base here. Press Kavanaugh, Ben Malgiri, 2 guys that have had a couple of crucial RBIs standing on deck. And Harwich, not a stranger to comebacks against this Chatham team. At least here not here at White House Field. Time called here by the catcher. Takes his mask off. Makes some kind of adjustment to his nose. Puts it back on, and the count stays here 3-2. Putz digs in from the right side. So far, 5 strikeouts already. Adam Tulloch, I'm sure, would love to make it 6 here with a runner in scoring position. The pitch swung on and chopped weakly down the third base line, but foul, and we will do it again.
Yeah, if you're Harwich, again, you don't really want to let this go quite yet. You have Putz in the batter's box now, as mentioned, and if you can just keep the inning going, of course, it'd be great to have, say, Putz were to get out and then Kavanaugh, the bottom half of the order, as those guys have had success at the plate this season as well going, but you know, you're having success now. Just keep it rolling here with a single or a walk even.
Yeah, and most importantly, trying to keep things to 1 out here in the inning and get it to your next guy with no opportunity for a strikeout to end the inning. Quick check back to second base, and now you see Tulloch starting to pay a little bit more attention to the runner. Nobody holding Brock Wilkin on base. Wilkin is he's not a slow guy, but he's certainly not one of the guys you would expect to try to swipe third. Probably not going to see him try to steal that bag. Payoff pitch. Fouled away again, and I believe now we're approaching the 10th pitch of the at-bat.
Yeah, it's been a lengthy at-bat. We've seen that from a few guys so far. I'd have to say this has been the longest so far of the game. Good fight here from Putz. you know, that's the whole idea. You foul enough off, eventually you'll get something you'll like.
Adam Tulloch has thrown more pitches in this at-bat that he has in at least 2 innings of this game so far. Sets up, steps off the rubber, wants another second to think this over. You're also talking about a guy who is working at a blistering pace in terms of efficiency, who is now being forced to throw more pitches. I wondered if he would be able to go even deeper into this game, but that pitch count starting to rise just a touch. 3-2. Fouled off again, and we will do it again.
Yeah, this next pitch here for Tulloch going to be the 69th of the game so far.
Yep, 69 pitches so far for Tulloch. Trying to get how many pitches potentially, again, here in this at-bat. I know we're at least to 10 with all the foul offs, or again, the foul tips.
This will be pitch number 10.
Yep, this is pitch number 10. Correction. So here comes the payoff. This one swung on, popped high in the air, a chance to get over the fence, and it will. So another ball fouled away here. And this has turned into a really fun battle to watch here. You have seen Tulloch go to a number of what he would consider to be some of his best strikeout pitches, but he has not been able to get even soft contact in the field of play here from Carter Putz. Everything has been out of play, and sooner or later, one of these guys is going to have to win this battle, in theory.
Yeah, at this point, what do you throw him to put him out? He's fouling it off a few times already, I bet you.
A lot of times, pitchers will just go back to that default, try to blow the fastball by you, but that's not something I would recommend with Putz. Here is the fastball, and, well, just as I say that, that's exactly what he does. But a great at-bat there for Carter Putz. It is the 6th strikeout of the day for Tulloch, and that'll bring up Press Kavanaugh with 2 away.
I mean, that's a really valuable at-bat if you're Putz. You're able to drive up the pitch count of a guy who's been riding pretty smoothly. Pitch count right now for Tulloch standing at 70. That was I believe, a 12-pitch at-bat for Carter Putz. You single-handedly raised his pitch count by nearly 20%. In that at-bat.
And now you've got a pitching coach out there to have a word with the hurler. There is an arm up and warming right now in that Chatham bullpen. You wonder if this may be just to buy time, but still a great outing so far for Tulloch. 6 strikeouts. He's given up just the 2 hits, just the 1 run. If he can get out of this inning without any more damage done, that would certainly be a kudos to him as well. And Chatham in desperate need of runs right now. This will be a great opportunity for us to take a look at what else is going on in the CCBL. Let's take a look at our out-of-town scoreboard. The Katuitt Cavaliers at home. They lead the Brewster Whitecaps 3-2. That game in the top of the 8th inning. Here, of course, it's 3-1 in favor of Chatham. And unfortunately, Tim, trends continue to be trends. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks trail the Wareham Gatemen 1-0. The Bourne Braves lead the YD Red Sox 4-0. Those games both in the 3rd inning, respectively. You just wonder. I don't know. Obviously, there would be an asterisk next to it because it is a 40-game season. How many games is Bourne going to lose this year? 4, 5, maybe?
I do not know. Can't tell you. They are looking good, and that's a good YD team.
Absolutely, and this can help the rest of the East as well if Bourne can find a way to hold on to the victory here as everybody battling it out for those top 2 spots. It's going to be a real battle royale down to the very end here, with only 2 spots up for grabs to the or only 2 tickets to the postseason up for grabs in the Eastern Division. A 1-0 count right now on Press Kavanaugh, the new batter here for the Harwich Mariners. Tulloch looking to get out of another inning with minimal damage done. Pitch on the way. This one swung on, taken up the right side. That'll have a chance to get through, and it will. They will hold the runner at 3rd, and this is where we see a little more restraint from Coach Tebow at 3rd base. Early in the season, we may have seen him send a guy like Brock Wilkin, but he holds him up here, trusts Ben Malgeri to come in and get the job done, and Malgeri will come to the plate now with runners at the corners and 2 away.
And we've already seen a play at the plate so far in this game, so I think with the way that the right fielder in Hogan was able to track down that ball quickly and right, charging in at it, and again with a guy in Wilkin who perhaps doesn't have the greatest speed on the team, I think definitely a smart move to just rely on your next batter to help you out.
I have to agree. This ball sent high in the air, drifting out of the gap in right center field, back to the fence, to the track. It is gone. 3-run shot for Ben Malgeri and the Harwich Mariners, just as they did a week ago at this very ballpark, retake the lead from the Chatham Anglers on a long bomb, this time by right fielder Ben Malgeri. And Tim, we've seen balls carry to the outfield today, but that thing just kept on going and tucked over the right field fence.
It looked like a pop-up right off the barrel. I have to say, I thought it was going to be gotten under by either Hogan or DeLeo, but it just kept going and going, and I think the wind is carrying out towards right, so a huge hit by Malgeri and a huge inning for Harwich.
Harwich takes the lead 4-3. The situation completely changes, and let's talk about this as Josh Hood comes to the plate, swings through the first pitch for a strike. Tolik's next offering is going to be swung on and missed as well. Tolik got through the entire lineup without giving up a single base runner. He struck out 4, he retired 9 in a row, and in 1/2 inning, the Mariners have come back and retaken the lead with a 4-run inning. As this one will miss, count goes to 1-2.
Yeah, it's been 2 completely different games for Tulik. Was able to work easily through the lineup the first time around, but Harwich has really adjusted well.
This ball taken up the middle, and the M's might not be done yet. Josh Hood with a rocket up the gut, and that will put a base runner aboard here for Max Codier. I mean, Harwich, I mean, again, they went 3 innings without getting a base runner. If they find a way to get one more guy on, they'll have batted through the lineup here in the 4th.
And just, you talk about, trusting your batters. Again, with the whole thing about holding Wilkin, you allow Malgeri the opportunity to come to the plate, and that's just that confidence Harwich is building.
Runner goes, fouled away here.
Because I could see a situation in which, if you're Tebow over at third, if you're Harwich, you just want to do your best to try and guarantee a run. You don't want to have to leave it up to the next batter to try and get a hit. But that's something that we're starting to see from this Mariners team.
Quick pickoff move over to first, not time, as Josh Hood back in safely. And yeah, I mean, I think we've seen throughout the course of again, especially in that first week, we saw so many times where the Mariners will get waved around home or try to stretch a double into a triple and get thrown out at the bag. It was just frustrating to watch, but now you see that confidence in the lineup. I mean, in the back of your mind, you don't have to try to risk it because you have Ben Malgeri coming up. And, you and I had a chance to talk to Coach Englert a couple of days ago, and he said, we've got the pieces. We're just trying to figure out where they fit and what our best lineup is. And especially when you look at the guys they have right now, batting 3 through 5, or 3 through 6, correction. It really seems like those are the mainstays locked in that order. Pitch on the way. That'll miss up and out. Count goes to 1-2 here on Max Codier. I mean, check me if I'm wrong here, Tim. But when you're talking about the lineup here, Levens, Wilkin, Putz, Cavanaugh, Malgeri, those seem like guys that will not spend a lot of time outside of this lineup this season.
No, certainly. They've just been excellent for this Harwich team all season long. And I think Cavanaugh, it took him a little while to really come to life. I think it was the first trip to Red Wilson Field where he had his first hit in a Mariners uniform. But really since then, he's been excellent.
Big wave and a miss to the pitch well outside of the zone. Max Codier is down. That is the 7th strikeout of the day for Adam Tolik. But not before the Harwich Mariners retake the lead thanks to a monster 3-run home run by Ben Malgeri. We will step away when we come back. Chatham looking to get the runs back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back here to White House Field. Tyler, Henry, Timothy Foley bringing you this one here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. And Tim, it's a brand new ball game here. Harwich entered the top of the fourth, or correction, the bottom of the fourth, down 2-0. Now they hold a 3-4 lead. Correction, entered the bottom of the fourth, down 3-0. Now hold a 4-3 lead. Numbers and words are hard sometimes.
Sometimes they are.
Leading it off here is Caden Schrenkel, and he will take this pitch in for a called strike. And I'll tell you what, the one guy that's got to be feeling even better about all of this is Billy Seidel out there on the mound, who is now working with a lead.
Always helps when you have your guys, if you go down early, to have your guys come back and give you some run support.
Certainly does. The 0-2 skipped well in the dirt, and then off the chest protector of Tatum Levens. That one may have slipped a bit. So it's Schrenkel, Soretti, and Hogan to lead things off here for the Chatham Anglers. And deja vu all over again here for Chatham. After taking an early lead, the Mariners put a ball over the fence that gives them the lead. Last time those circumstances happened, the Mariners took victory over Chatham earlier this season. I'm sure they love nothing more than to hang on and get another victory here today. 1-2 rather, swung on, half-hearted check swing. They'll check it down to first. And Schrenkel is retired. That'll be recorded as the 4th strikeout of the day for Billy Seidel.
And this is something we're seeing more and more from this Harwich team is response. You know, I mentioned it a bit earlier in the game about scoring in late situations. Just scoring throughout the game after giving up runs like that, to be able to come back and hang up a crooked number on the board. It's huge for this Harwich team to be able to do that, and it's going to be crucial for their success down the line.
Yep, of course, Harwich had to come back and find a way to score to tie the game up in Wareham a couple of days ago. Mariners, I mentioned, also got the come-from-behind victory against Chatham the last time these two met, as a ball tipped foul for strike 2 here by the leadoff man, Danny Soretti. Mariners right now holding a 1-run lead, rather. As this pitch right in there for a called strike. Watching it go by is Danny Soretti, and I'll tell you what, again, that lead builds confidence, and that is now strikeout number 5, and back-to-back case here for Billy Seidel.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. That was a nice pitch from Seidel on the outside part of the plate, able to just pick it, and, of course, the batter, Soretti, didn't think that it was. Very nice placement, and you can tell Seidel, he's looking a lot better on the mound this inning.
Yep, that run support certainly put a little pep in his step as he'll face Matthew Hogan for a second time. The one guy he has yet to retire, and that streak will continue as Hogan rips a single to center field. And for the 3rd time today, he will stand aboard here for Jake DeLeo.
I mean, good batting from Hogan. You saw what happened when his last 2 teammates got behind in the count and ended up striking out. So gets right ahead of it, aggressive on the first pitch, and pays off for him.
See if they can make something of this here. Jake DeLeo stands in from the left, or from the right side. And again, just a runner on first here, but an opportunity for a 2-out rally here for Chatham. They do only trail by 1. Still plenty of time left in this one, but there is a wave and a miss as DeLeo comes up empty. Count starts at 0-1, and Seidel, since picking up a lead, has not fallen behind a batter.
That was an excellent pitch. DeLeo did not look comfortable on that check swing.
Pretty reasonable lead right now for Hogan on first. Wonder if we might see a check over to the back. He will go, and this one's going to be swung on and taken to the shortstop. Picked up there by Hughes. Throw to first. Long stretch over there by Carter. Putts, and that will retire the side. 4 up, 3 down. The Harwich Mariners, another scoreless inning. They still lead at 4-3. You're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley bringing you this one. Glad to have you in. Glad to have you with us. And I don't want to speak too soon, but I think most of our technical issues have been resolved. Of course, getting some new equipment. And I know, we've got wood in front of us to knock on, and we're at home. It's fine. So a fresh count will be here to the the 9-hole hitter Hal Hughes. It'll be Hughes, Levens, and Newell, and they will be facing off against a new pitcher coming into the game here for the Chatham Anglers. It'll be Garrett Crowley, who has had a pretty great season so far here in the Cape. He has made 3 appearances. He has pitched in 9 innings. 15 strikeouts to only 3 walks, but the big number that pops off the page to you here, Tim, a 1.93 ERA for the Fordham product from Forest Hills, New York.
Yeah, that's something that certainly can be daunting if you're looking at it, but if you're Harwich, you have to be feeling confident. You just took a guy in Adam Tulloch who was cruising through 3, and second time around had a lot of success against him.
So Hughes will foul the first pitch that he sees off. That does close the book on Adam Tulloch, and boy, what a line considering his first 3 innings of work. He will close it out with 4 complete innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 6 strikeouts, no walks. As this one in there for a called strike. And this has been, I think, the biggest difference between the Brewster game and this game. We made that comparison earlier in this one, but again, Harwich has not been gifted a free base runner of any variety. No errors, no walks, no runners hit by a pitch. They've done it all with their bats, and that is very good to see as Hughes golfs at a pitch in the dirt. He'll be tagged out, and a great start to the outing here for Crowley, 1 away.
Yeah, efficient start is what you need. Get settled in. Now you have a guy in Levens who he's already struck out twice today, but he's been seeing the ball really well his past few games.
You know, Tim, I took some flack a moment ago for bringing up the fact that we might be through our technical difficulties, but I'll say this. If there are broadcast gods, I think they've done enough punishing of us so far this season. We have been about as snake-bitten as I've ever seen a broadcast crew with technical difficulties. Levens swings through the first pitch he sees, falls behind here 0-1.
I mean, we had a pretty good piece of luck earlier today. You were on your way to the field, and if you left it just a moment later or sooner perhaps, or sooner I should say, as it counts 1-1, we might not be broadcasting with headsets.
Yeah, we'd be passing the old stick mic around. Yep. Again, just to give you an idea at home, again, we've kind of pulled back the curtain a couple of times on some of the operations that we work with, as Levens will take this for strike 2. Typically, we've got a soundboard, we've got headsets, we've got a very professional-looking setup here, but when things go wrong, we literally plugged the microphone we use for our interviews into the aux port of the laptop we broadcast off of and just passed it back and forth. As this one will miss outside, and the count goes to 2-2. Certainly one of the weirder setups that I've seen, but what can I say? We've also done about 7 innings this season on Instagram Live. So
I was gonna say we've had our we've bounced back. We've been resilient. You know, whenever there's an issue, that we've always felt like there's a solution. So to our credit in that sense.
Absolutely. This one misses down and away. Just know if you're tuning in at home, we have done everything in our power to get you every inning we can of CCBL action, and happy to be bringing you this one live. 3-2 the count right now on Tatum. Levens looking to get things started here for the M's. Next pitch on the way, swung on and fouled off down the first base line.
Of course, we've solved as many technical issues as we can, but in regards to the content, well, you're just going to have to deal with that for the time being. We're still getting that straightened out.
Oh, man. Count stays full here on Tatum. Levens looking to avoid a 3rd strikeout of the day. So far, so good for Garrett Crowley. Retired the first batter he saw with a strikeout payoff pitch, and he will get another. That is going to be the hat trick for Tatum Levens. 3 strikeouts, all of them swinging, and the first 2 batters that Garrett Crowley has faced, he sets down with strikeouts.
And if you're Harwich, it's happening again, where first few guys to see a new pitcher, they're going down swinging. It's all about whether or not, I think for this Harwich team, they do an excellent job with adjusting, but you have to be able to jump on a guy the first time around. They did that successfully on Thursday against YD, but this time around having some struggles when they see a pitcher for the first time.
This will miss outside for a ball. On the bright side, you're now working with a 1-run lead, so if your pitching can come in and do what it's done all season long, you like your odds in a game like this, but certainly would help if they can add a few insurance runs. The 1-0. Big swing and a miss. That'll even the count at 1-1. Chris Newell wanted to park that one over the new scoreboard out and right.
It was a nice pitch. Blew it right by him at 90 miles an hour.
So we'll see what's in store here on the 1-1. And they'll be fouled away again. So the count goes here to 1-2, and Crowley, just like Tulik before him, getting ahead of these guys here early in counts.
And it's worked out for him so far. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts.
Trying to flip back through the book here to find something, but in the meantime, a 1-2 pitch on its way. And there it is, swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 up, 3 down, all via the K. It's a great start to the outing here by Garrett Crowley, but his Chatham Anglers still trail it 4-3. You're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back here to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley. Mariners fans, this game is brought to you by Curry College. Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. In-person and high-flex classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, accounting, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu. Heart of the order due up here for the Chatham Anglers. Lyle Miller Green steps to the plate now, followed by Maxwell Romero Jr. and Josh Rivera. And, well, a couple of guys coming up here that could potentially change this game with one swing of the bat. These are the guys you have to be careful of, and they will face Billy Seidel for a 3rd time. First pitch, check swing, strike 1.
Yeah, especially the 3rd time around. You need to be careful when you're Seidel. You know, try to give guys looks that you haven't really yet to this point.
And Lyle Miller Green having a rare off night here. So he is over 2 with a pair of Ks. Seidel's gotten him twice. See if he can go at him again. This pitch just off the inside part of the plate. Count goes to 1-1. Of course, we've seen, we've talked about this a couple of times this year, Tim. Sometimes the Harwich batters will strike out and you'll see them kind of give some instruction to the guy that's coming up to the plate next as Wilkin fields this at 3rd, throws across in time for the first out of the inning. We also have a similar system up here in the booth. Got a really interesting note from Colin Casey, who mentioned that not only is Ben Malgiri responsible for putting 3 runs on the board with the 3-run home run, he also took a run off the board potentially, or prevented one from being put up in the first place with that excellent throw from right field. So Ben Malgiri right now making a 4-run difference all by himself as the first pitch is in there for a called strike to Maxwell Romero Jr.
Yeah, you can't overstate the value he's had for this Mariners lineup. Coming out of Northeastern, a guy who had a great season there. It's always interesting to see how a guy from a non-Power 5 conference will play, and he's really looked like he's belonged here all summer long so far for Harwich.
Most definitely one of those guys that has definitely shined very bright here under a bit of a magnifying glass. Obviously, all of these guys, you know, the pressure can get to some of them playing with so many Major League scouts at these ballparks. A big swing and a miss here. Seidel brings one high, and this one must have been foul tipped. I don't know how I didn't see that, but actually, correction, it looks like the bat may have caught Tatum Levins, who will take a second to collect himself here. But Tim, that kind of brings us back to a point. I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but in addition to the pressure of, you know, knowing you're playing against the best pitchers, the best hitters on the Cape in the country, you also have to deal with a number of guys walking around here with radar guns and World Series rings. And that pressure can definitely get to some players, as right now, trainer comes out and takes a brief look at Tatum Levins.
Yeah, it can get to some, most certainly, because this is where you're likely going to be most scrutinized. Because as much success as you can have in your collegiate league, this is, in a sense, the great equalizer. You get guys from different conferences, different parts of the country who generally don't match up against one another, and you put them all together in one big all-star league. You see how they play, and so certainly it's a lot of pressure to know that a lot of your performances are going to be looked upon, but you can't really fret over one poor performance because it's how you bounce back from it that these scouts really want to see. You know, they want to see, okay, this guy's in a slump. How's he going to respond? This guy, you know, had a poor outing last time around. How's he going to respond? There's going to be a lot of failure in this league for a lot of guys who haven't experienced it before, but scouts are looking at a lot of the other stuff.
2-2 taking up the right side. That'll get through, and that'll be a runner aboard here with one out. Maxwell Romero Jr. finds his way on for the second time today. That'll bring up Josh Rivera, who has reached base in both of his two previous outings. And you know, you talk about the ability to respond. That's kind of a luxury that some of the bigger names in this league have. The guys that come in and you know you're going to be a part of that lineup throughout the entire season. It's a little bit tougher for some of the guys that come in here on temporary contracts or the guys that know they might not be sticking around for as long because you may not get the chance to bounce back. And that's the reality of the Cape League, but it's another element to it. Is this one taken up the middle, back-to-back singles here for the Chatham Anglers, and they are in business here with Johnny Castagnazzi up next, who had the 2 RBI triple to wipe these two guys in the second time he came up.
Yeah, got to be careful here if you're Seidel. Again, a single run ties the game for Chatham, but you make an excellent point there that if you're a temp, you come in, you really have to, as much as you might enjoy being here for the short time you're here, you got to make your money right away.
Yep.
You need to show to these scouts that, you know, even if you go in a slump at some point, you are something worth watching early in the season. To the coaches as well.
I was going to say probably more importantly to the coaches because they're the ones that determine whether or not you get to stick around. As the ball hit high and deep out to left, hooking to the left side, and it is foul. A sigh of relief by Billy Seidel. That could have changed this game very quickly. Instead, it'll just be an 0-1 count. But Castagnazzi did not miss that one by much.
Yeah, Castagnazzi, I believe a new addition to this Chatham lineup. We don't have any numbers on him, but he has really looked pretty good for them so far. Of course, had the triple his last time out. He's shown a lot of pop in his game so far here today.
Yep, Johnny Castagnazzi out of the University of North Carolina. I always have to be careful. I spent an entire season working for the University of Northern Colorado, and when I see UNC, something just kind of pops in the back of my mind. But he had a pretty good 2021 season, hit 241, 4 home runs, 4 doubles, 15 RBIs for him, and an on-base percentage of about .311. So getting his first hacks here in the Cape, and a big opportunity here with his team trailing by 1. Runners on first and second, the 1-1 pitch, and that'll miss down and away. Count goes to 2-1.
And if you're Seidel, you have to remember, you know, you can't fear contact here per se. You know, if you leave a ball in the ground, you're in a good position here to hit a double play. As conversation on the mound now being had between Levens and Seidel very briefly.
Yeah, there is still an arm up and warming. Actually, it's a different arm, I believe, than the one we saw up and warming earlier here in the Harwich bullpen. So you have to think they would certainly have Bo Keithley at their disposal. But another arm up and warming out there. It's Liam Simon. So a couple of options here for Harwich, but for the time being, it's very much Billy Seidel's game. Seidel checks the runner back to second. Brings home the 2-1. And that misses just off the plate, so he falls behind 3-1, a hitter's count to a guy that we already saw just miss taking one over that left field fence. And you know the green light is on here for Castagnazzi.
Yeah, we saw Seidel. He had some of that confidence given back to him in that 5th inning after Harwich put some runs on the board. But now here in the 6th, a couple of quick hits from Chatham, and he's a little more timid out there.
3-1 misses well outside, and that will load the bases for Michael Brown. You know, it kind of comes back to bite you as a broadcaster. I brought up, you know, I'm not 100% sure what Michael Brown's bat's doing down there in the 8-hole, but now for the second time today, he is going to come up with an opportunity to do something very big. Just one away in the inning, his team down by 1, and that tying run standing 90 feet away, and now Coach Steve Englert comes out, and we know what that means. This is likely the end of the day for Billy Seidel. We'll wait to see the guy start to jog out of the signal be given here before we take it to break, and there is the signal. So Billy Seidel's outing is done, and somebody is going to be inheriting a bit of a mess here for the Harwich Mariners. We'll get you an update on who that person is on the other side of the break when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. New pitcher coming into the game here for the M's. They'll go from number 32 to number 31 as Liam Simon from Notre Dame comes in. And the righty has, I'm sure, been thrown into situations like this before, but this never feels good as a reliever. You're out there, you're warming up, you're kind of paying attention to what's going on. You get the signal to the pen, you turn around and oh, there are 3 guys standing on base and only 1 out. But we've seen some really good stuff out of Liam Simon so far this year. And this is the same situation Eric Raiselman, who made his Harwich debut, was thrown into earlier this week, was able to get out of it. Simon hoping to do the same here.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that was a big spot. You mentioned Raiselman being able to come in and record 2 outs. And now you have a guy, and of course, it's always within the pitcher's control to get out of any situation. The game can really just be played between a pitcher, a catcher, and the guy standing in the batter's box. And so that's the way that Liam Simon's going to look to control it here.
Yep, Simon had a really good outing his last time out. He pitched 1 inning, he walked 1, struck out 2, did not give up a single hit, much less a single run. And he will need an appearance like that again here. Numbers looking good for him so far on the season as well. He has made 3 appearances. He has 5 innings to his name and a 1.8 ERA. 8 strikeouts compared to only 3 walks. But the first man he will face is the guy leading the team in average in Michael Brown, hitting .364 on the year, and Brown takes the first pitch for strike 1.
Yeah, tough when you come into a situation with the bases loaded, even tougher when it's against a batter of Brown's caliber who knows how to put the bat on the ball.
The 0-1, that'll miss down. Count goes to 1-1. The one advantage that you have, though, is that the batters that are coming up here will be seeing somebody they have not faced so far before. So you always do have that kind of the allure of being the new guy when you are the pitcher brought into the game. But a lot of confidence, and I'm sure a lot of aggressiveness has been granted here to Michael Brown, given the situation. The 1-1 in there for a called strike. And now you see Liam Simon has him right where he wants him. A 1-2 count and an opportunity to finish him off here. Take a look at what Liam Simon has on offer, at least in terms of what we see from him. Fastball, slider, change. Classic 3-pitch guy. Here comes the 1-2. This one swung on and taken up the middle. A chance for 2. They go from Hughes across to Codier, back to first, and it's going to be past the glove of Butts. That will score another run. Throw to the plate, not nearly in time. And ultimately, it's going to be I guess, a 2 RBI fielder's choice here for Michael Brown. And just like that, the lead back in the hands of the Chatham Anglers. They lead at 5-4.
That's almost exactly what you wanted for Harwich. Just a ball hit on the ground, right on the line to your guy at short and Hal Hughes. But then the throw on to first just off the mark. And I feel like we've seen it a few times on these double play opportunities for Harwich where they'll rush the throw and they're not able to get a really good look at it.
Yep, and that will bring up 9-hole hitter Caden Schrenkel. So really quickly, the book does close on Billy Seidel. The 3 runners he was responsible for, all taken off the base path in one form or another after that. Seidel goes 5 1/3, gives up 5 runs on 6 hits, 5 strikeouts, 5 walks. And of those runs, I believe 4 of the 5 earned. I believe a 2-0 count here for Caden Schrenkel. as that pitch missed low. Simon looking to settle in now. Just the runner on first to worry about. 2 outs in the inning. And this ball is going to be chopped to second. Should be easy enough here for Codier, who throws to first in time for the out. But not before Chatham retakes the lead off of a wild sequence on a fielder's choice. It's 5-4 Anglers. The Mariners looking to get those runs back. When we come back, you're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network as we get set for the home half of inning number 6. And while we talked about, Harwich struggling a little bit with the new pitcher Garrett Crowley, who comes back out here for another inning, Tim, but now the situation has changed. Instead of being up a run, they now find themselves down a run. Still at the heart of the order due up here with Wilkin, Putz, and Kavanaugh, but a new sense of urgency has to be into the bats of this Harwich lineup.
Yeah, it's been a back and forth game, and that can really change your mentality as both a hitter and a fielder. So it'll be interesting to see how Harwich responds at the plate here against a guy who they haven't seen well yet.
Kind of a lazy delivery here by Garrett Crowley. I'll have to keep a closer eye on it to see if that's been a consistent thing for him or not, as the lefty comes home with, again, just a very casual pitch there. But it's foul away for a strike to Brock Wilkin, who so far today is 1 for 2 with an RBI double and a strikeout. Also has a run scored. The 0-1, and that one will miss. Actually, they say it's in there for a called strike. Count goes to 0-2, and Tim, as deliveries go, this has to be one of the most casual I think I've ever seen. Crowley just looks like he's out there playing catch.
Yeah, I mean, it's, different strokes for different folks.
Comes home with this one. That'll miss low. Actually, no, they say it's in there for a called strike. Didn't even see an indication from the home plate umpire, but Brock Wilkin heads back, and Crowley has now struck out all 4 of the first 4 batters he has faced. The next man up is Carter Putz, who has been retired with K one time so far already.
Yep, Putz still looking to have an impact on this game, as you mentioned, and in a spot here now where his team's down, and you don't want to be shut out right after giving up the lead.
Well, and how about this? We talked about we talked about Chatham setting the new record in the 2021 season, 19 strikeouts yesterday. Harwich with 11 strikeouts already, and they are just 5 1/3 of the way into this one as this ball's chopped to third, but foul. Count goes even at 1-1 here on Carter Putz.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of strikeouts to this point. In fact, the last 5 batters have all been retired with strikeouts, dating back to Tulloch back to end the 4th.
Yep, it was a big strikeout of Max Codier to avoid any more of that 2-out rally to happen. As now the Mariners are going to have to see some more of that fight that you talked about earlier, Tim, as this pitch misses high and outside. They battled back once already. Lose the lead for a second time, trying to fight their way back into this. But a tough guy on the mound here in Garrett Crowley. Mentioned an ERA well below 2. And he has been cooking here to start his outing. Here he falls behind 3-1. Putz will have a good opportunity at something more than likely in the zone here.
Yeah, good patience from Putz. Forcing Crowley to try and throw strikes, and Crowley having a bit of difficulty here.
Here comes that 3-1 pitch. It'll be fouled away. And last time Carter Putz was up, yes, he struck out, but he took 12 pitches to do so, fouling everything off of Adam Tulloch. And that was really kind of the beginning of the end. Tulloch did have 2 guys aboard at that point, but it was followed with a Prez Kavanaugh single, and then, of course, the 3-run home run by Ben Malgiri to give the Mariners, at the time, a 4-3 lead. Here comes the payoff pitch. And that'll be swung on and missed. Carter Putz down on strikes. And how about this now? 5 consecutive batters fanned. All 5 that he's faced for Garrett Crowley.
He's looked really good. I mean, blowing it by Putz there, and now you have a guy in Kavanaugh who you just kind of want some contact here. You know, try to make it a lengthy at bat as Putz was able to kind of draw out just there. Don't make it easy for Crowley to keep gliding through this Mariners lineup, much like Tulloch did to open the game.
And similar to Tulloch, as much as he would love to sit back and take a pitch, as we see Kavanaugh do here, he's been around the strike zone so much that you don't want to risk falling behind. 17 Mariners have been retired in this game. 12 of them have been via the strikeout, the 1-0. This is outside. Count goes to 2-0. So Kavanaugh trying to break up what has been a very impressive streak here for Garrett Crowley. As the infield shading in just a bit. 2-0. Off speed. In there for a called strike. Count goes 2-1. Kavanaugh, you mentioned, has really been picking it up as of late. He'll take a strike on a fastball around the knees here to even the count at 2-2. Got off to a bit of a slow start, but then I think we all remember that big 3 RBI game that he had to give the Mariners what at the time felt like a big win to snap a bit of a cold streak after a tie and a couple of losses. Here comes the 2-2. Swung on and lifted high in the air out to right. This one will not carry as far as the previous 2. Hogan settles under it and makes the catch, and that will retire the side. So far, a perfect outing for Gary Crowley. 6 up, 6 down, 5 strikeouts, and the Mariners still trail it 5-4. When we come back to the 7th we go, it'll be Chatham looking to add on to their lead here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Mariners trailing it by 1 as we head to the 7th inning of play. And for the final 3 innings of play-by-play, Timothy Foley. Tim, take it away.
Thank you, Tyler. As we do look to see what this Mariners defense can do this time around. And another ball here on the throw down to second that the catcher typically does to get the infield warmed up. Another one that gets into the outfield from Tatum Levens. So for Levens, plenty of energy, but you got to keep those in line.
Hey, it's all good. As long as these only come during the warm-ups, I guess that's all that matters.
First batter up for Chatham's going to be Caden Tranquil. Tranquil 0 for 2 on the day. Swings at the first pitch he sees. Falls behind 0-1. It is still Liam Simon on the mound for the Mariners. Pardon me, as Danny Soretti up to bat now for the Anglers. A 1-1 count here to Soretti. And time called. That pitch isn't going to count. Would have been 2-1 had it counted. 87 had missed rather high.
Yeah, a bit of a delay there, but so far, I mean, again, he does end up allowing a couple of runs to come across. It's a big swing and a miss. We'll make it a 1-2 count, that pitch in the dirt. But through the 2 guys that have been faced here by Liam Simon, he's gotten 2 outs, and he's hoping he can roll that confidence over into this inning.
So 1-2 pitch. This one hit out to left field. Underneath it is Hood. He'll make the catch. And there's one down in the 7th inning.
Yep, pretty quick work here. Again, Liam Simon another one of those guys that's willing to pound the zone and comes up with pretty solid contact that time, but fortunately for him, it's right at his left fielder. Easy play for Hood. One away.
So now this will bring up Matthew Hogan, the one angler so far today, or who is yet to, actually, no, that is not correct. Josh Rivera also has gotten on base each of his 3 at-bats. This time, however, Hogan hits one on the line to Putz, who picks it up and tags a first base bag for an out. Now 2 away here in the 7th inning.
Yep, quick efficiency. I believe just 4 or 5 pitches here. He's picked up the first 2 outs, and now will face Jake DeLeo.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping for from Simon. Of course, this time around, fresh bases came in with the bases loaded back in the 6th inning. Had to deal with that. Ended up allowing 2 to come across off of a hit that was from Michael Brown. That ball ended up getting away, and of course Chatham regaining the lead in that instance. Now you have a situation here where the third base coach for Chatham having a conversation with Jake DeLeo. DeLeo 0 for 4 on the day, and hoping to change that here. Umpire Mike Rabideau behind the plate signaling that that does count for a meeting between a player and a coach.
Yeah, don't typically see many guys push the envelope on that number. It's kind of a bit of an arbitrary limit, but imposed nonetheless.
First pitch dealt 95 miles an hour, misses down low. 1-0.
Yeah, Simon's got some good heat. We've seen it this year already.
Second pitch thrown in for a called strike, 1-1. This one at 94. Opting with the fastball early in the count for 1-1. This one drops down to 81 miles an hour and also drops below the knees, 2-1. It's been a back and forth game as the 2-1 pitch down in the dirt. Count now goes to 3-1. Chatham built up a 3-0 lead after they scored 2 in the 4th inning. Then Harwich came back to take the lead off of runs scored exclusively in the 4th, a 4-run 4th inning. 3-1 pitch fouled off, count runs full. And then Chatham, about an inning and a half later, come back to score 2 runs in the top of the 6th. And they pull back ahead now. It's a 5-4 lead for the Anglers. And it is a strikeout. That will end the inning. Jake DeLeo thought he had ball 4. Instead, he had called strike 3. So that'll do it for the visitor half of the 7th inning. We'll be back with the home half in just a minute. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field. Ben Malgiri leading it off for Harwich in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Last time up, of course, had that 3-run bomb to put Harwich ahead for the time being. And then Chatham did come back. First pitch he sees is 89 miles an hour, missing, 1-0. Next pitch, 2-0.
And Tim, it looks like we're going to have potentially, assuming some scores hold here, a shakeup in the East as Whitey was sitting atop of that division, but they are trailing the Bourne Braves 6-2
The 2-0 pitch is fouled off, now 2-1.
But the Brewster Whitecaps capitalizing. They get the victory 5-3. They were tied with the Orleans Firebirds, but due to field conditions, Orleans not playing today, and that's the one downside. As you see Brewster with an opportunity to take over first place.
Ball down low at the feet of Malgiri, 3-1. That pitch coming in at 91 miles an hour. Certainly is a chance to see somebody else at the top of the division for, I think, one of the first times all season long as Malgiri takes ball 4 inside.
Tim, you want the weirdest stat of the 2021 season so far?
What would you say if I said no?
I guess I would say nothing.
Let's hear it.
All right. The Whitey Red Sox leading the Eastern Division. They've been good this year. They have a -5 run differential this season. They have lost a couple of blowouts, but very rarely do you see the top team in anything with a negative run differential.
Yeah, I was going to say, when they lose big. And, of course, having those 4 ties, keeping a lot of their games even, is not going to have a lot of run differential. Runner goes in Malgiri. Mariners trying to play small ball as Josh Hood laid down the bunt. Count goes to 0-1 as he fouled it off.
And just in case you're wondering, yes, the Bourne Braves do have the best run differential at +36, and yes, the Hyannis Harbor Hacks have the worst run differential at -53. That's a Hyannis team that is also currently trailing the Wareham Gatemen 4-0.
Pickoff attempt over to first, unsuccessful. Josh Hood, 1 for 2 on the day. Had a single with 2 outs back in the 4th inning. But then Codier struck out right after him to end the inning. Another pickoff attempt over to first.
And if you loop it around the lineup, this is the part of the order that has really been struggling so far today. Hood is 1 for 2, but Codier, Hughes, and Tatum Levens collectively 0 for 7 with 5 strikeouts.
Crowley, the 0-1 pitch, a bit of a rainbow in, misses at 76.
And that's really, you know, again, part of what he's got working for him so far. When you knock the velocity down from the fastball, you bring it all the way down to 76 for a curveball like that. It's really tough for guys to kind of have the right mentality up there at the plate.
So far, Crowley with 35 pitches, 21 of which have been for strikes, 14 of which for balls. That last walk, the only walk he surrendered, in fact, the only Mariner who's managed to get on base against him so far today. Struck out the first 5 he saw. And now the 1-1 pitch to Hood misses high and away.
Well, and he took over against the 9-hole hitter in Hal Hughes, but so far we've seen pretty much the exact same thing as what we saw the first time with Tulloch. And then, again, the second time through the order, the Mariners did some really good damage. See if they can repeat that here when they get to Hal Hughes' spot in the lineup. Another soft check over to first. Not sure if he's worried about Malgiri potentially taking off or if he's just trying to keep him honest.
Malgiri so far on the season does have 4 stolen bases. That does lead these Harwich Mariners as the ball gets away from the catcher, Romero Jr., throw down to second, not in time. Malgiri able to get away to second base. It is a passed ball that allows him to do so. Romero Jr. trying to make the throw before he had the ball in his hand.
Well, and you talk about a delayed steal attempt that time. I mean, again, just waiting to see if the ball was going to get away from him, but there was still a chance with a decent enough throw that they may have caught Malgiri at second. Either way, tying run in scoring position with for Harwich with nobody out. And again, these are the opportunities the Mariners have to find ways to capitalize on.
Hood, he'll sky one foul beyond that third base side, first base side, excuse me. And certainly a moment where if you're Harwich, you need to take advantage of having this runner on second. You know, you got a lucky break there with the ball getting away from the catcher, Romero Jr., and now runner on second in scoring position. No matter what part of the lineups do up, as Josh Hood sends one past the second baseman, Soretti. Coming home to score is going to be Malgiri, and it's a tie game here at White House Field.
That is absolutely massive. And it's not just big for the Mariners. Obviously helps them here as they knot this one up 5-5. It's also big for Josh Hood. I mean, we're talking about a guy we have not seen in this lineup for quite a while. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of flipping back through here. Josh Hood has not played since that game against the Brewster Whitecaps, but he is 2 for 3 with an RBI that ties the game here in the 7th inning. And again, I mentioned only 4 listed outfielders on the roster for the Harwich Mariners. He may have been trying to state a case here, trying to earn some more playing time here for the M's.
Certainly so, and we've seen what he can do defensively. He's made some nice plays. He's settled under balls properly, as a conversation on the mound being had now. But he is batting 174 on the season. 4 hits in 23 at-bats, and I remember a majority of those hits for Hood really coming in the first few games of the season for these Mariners, and so has not had the greatest luck at the plate as of late, but great to see him break out here today. And now you have a pinch hitter for the Mariners coming in Jordan Beck. We'll have to see what the defensive alignments will be. Beck, typically an outfielder. He's coming in replacement of Max Codier, who was 0 for 2 on the day. And Beck takes a first pitch strike called at 91 miles an hour.
Yeah, Beck, one of those guys that's been figuring things out. I mean, he had the RBI single to get the Mariners on the board against the YD Red Sox. Actually, to get them on the board again after Carter Putz with the RBI single started it off, and had a walk in that game as well. This pitch will be just low for ball 2. So ever since Jordan Beck has come in very quietly, he has had pretty steadily about a 500 on-base percentage.
And he has produced as of late. He actually does have currently a 5-game hitting streak. So a bit difficult to maintain that coming in a pinch hitting situation. Of course, has about 2 fewer at-bats than he'll see all day in a typical game. He's behind in the count now, 1-2.
Yeah, we'll see if he can battle his way back. But again, no outs, and you have the go-ahead run standing on first base right now. This late in the game, that's absolutely huge. And, you know, your job right now, if you're Jordan Beck, even if you don't get a hit, find a way to get him on second, eliminate the chance of a double play, and put that go-ahead run in scoring position for Hal Hughes.
1-2 throwback to first base. That'll keep Hood on the base paths. Hood so far does have 2 stolen bases on the season for Harwich. 1-2 pitch. Beck goes down swinging. He cannot keep up with it, cannot foul it back. So the first out in the inning is a strikeout.
Yeah, and a 3-batter gap there, but that is strikeout number 6 on the day for Garrett Crowley. He has still been very good, but we are believers in trends. If history does repeat itself, the Mariners, the second time through the order, see if they can have better at-bats. Hal Hughes was the first man to face Garrett Crowley. He went down swinging. Seen a couple of big at-bats in big spots for Hal Hughes these last couple of days.
We have, as the first ball he sees is just about a foot left of the third base bag, and could have been a big chance there to help move Josh Hood around the bases. He'll step back into the batter's box.
And I don't even know about a foot. I think that thing was only off by 4 or 5 inches. That was awfully close to the line, but unfortunately it was close enough to the bag that if it was fair, it probably would have caromed off of it. So he falls behind here 0-1. But yeah, I mean, just so close.
The 0-1 pitch. Now one in for a called strike, and quickly Hughes falls behind 0-2. And this is where Crowley's done a lot of great work for the Anglers these past few innings.
Yeah, strikeout would be absolutely monstrous here with Tatum Levens looming on deck.
Levens, of course, has struck out 3 times. Hughes takes the 0-2 pitch, spoils it off. Will do it again.
And I think Hughes also knows he missed a chance there, because that second pitch, that breaking ball in for a strike, he let it go. That is not where you want to put a breaking ball. That thing was a little bit up and dead center of the zone, and Hughes kind of just watched it go by after seeing a fastball on the first pitch. So he falls behind 0-2. Sometimes you see guys get a little dejected. You see guys, you know, not as attacking there, but Hughes bounces back. He fouls one away, and he keeps it in an 0-2 count.
He did have a big at-bat last game against YD. Of course, hit that home run back in the 4th inning, the solo shot in a big spot. Of course, his Mariners teammates all excited about that one.
Yeah, and of course, a couple of days ago, I believe maybe even the game before at Wareham, he was the one at the plate when Harwich was able to tie it up.
And another ball hit out to left field. Settling underneath it is Caden Trenkle. So that will be out number 2.
Yeah, not a bad swing there by Hal Hughes, but unfortunately it just hangs up long enough and right at Trenkle. As you mentioned, he'd only had to take about a step and a half in to make the catch there. So Tatum Levens, I mean, talking about a guy who's due for a big hit. Levens is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts today. This would be a great opportunity for him to snap that streak.
2 of those strikeouts coming by the hand of Adam Tulloch. The last one coming from Garrett Crowley. Crowley still on the mound. The lefty stares over at first. Pick attempt. And he will continue to hold Josh Hood over at first, who's been standing there since singling to drive Ben Malgeri around the bases. Pitch missing outside. First pitch is a 1-0 count here to Tatum Levens. Nobody warming in the Harwich bullpen. Of course, see some stretching, but no arms throwing. The 1-0. Levens hits this one out into the gap in right center field. That's going to get down. Outfielder's going back for it. Josh Hood's going to come around third. Josh Hood's going to come home, and the Mariners take the lead in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, what do we say? Who's due for a big hit right now? It's Tatum Levens, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, and he come back and do that. Drives one into the gap in right center field. That's where the Mariners have been making their money this evening. And how about this? Twice today, we see the Mariners battle back from a deficit. They've got it evened up, or they had it evened up. And I believe they still have it. Correction. Yes, they even it up in the inning and then come back and strike for another one.
Yes, it was Malgeri who came around first, with Hood driving him around, and then just then you see Josh Hood finally being driven around the bases after patiently waiting on first for both Jordan Beck and Hal Hughes as they were retired. And Tatum Levens, his first hit of the day in a big spot. That's the difference right now. A 1-run lead for Harwich as Chris Newell stands in. He's ahead in the count 2-0 here.
And for Tatum Levens, that's about the timeliest 1 for 4 outing you're ever going to have. Opportunity here to maybe even pad an insurance run on.
And a ball hit squarely off the end of the bat by Chris Newell. Coming home to score is going to be Levens. Newell's going to dig for second, and he'll stand safely. Another double from another Mariner to drive in another run. 2-run lead, 7-5 in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, back-to-back doubles, and this is massive for the Harwich Mariners. This is what they've needed. This is really the first time that we've seen, kind of a back-and-forth battle like this. We've seen a lot of games with 2 runs. 1 run by one team, not a run on the board, but a run of scoring, and then 1 run by the other team. But these 2 teams trading blows here early on, and by the way, Brock Wilkin is now the batter at the plate. This is who you want here for the M's. 2 down and an opportunity for potentially 1 more here.
Wilkin, a guy who's already hit a double here today. And as mentioned, back-to-back for Harwich in a big way. And you said it, a resilient battle here for Harwich so far. Able to put up 3 runs in this inning. A pitcher in the bullpen for Chatham at the moment. It looks like it's going to be number 9, Zachary Maxwell out of Georgia Tech. Who's to say when he'll come in? Just 1 out being needed for Chatham, but of course it's been this 2-out offense from Levens and Newell, back-to-back doubles that have made the difference right now for Harwich.
Yep, and you're talking about the guy with the highest slugging percentage on the team right now in the same sample size in Brock Wilkin at the plate right now. If one guy can bring in 1, maybe even 2 with 1 more swing of the bat, it's this guy right here.
So Wilkin finally stands in, and Crowley finally ready to deliver. Wilkin able to check his swing, but he does end up going down in the dirt in an attempt to save it.
And he didn't even really offer it that. It wasn't that close on the check swing, but you don't typically see a guy hit the deck when he doesn't or doesn't offer at the pitch. So an interesting set of circumstances there for Wilkin, but he dusts himself off and he's back in the box and ready to go.
The 1-0 pitch misses outside, and Crowley, understanding who he's pitching against here, is behind in the count 2-0.
He's being really wary, but again, it doesn't get much easier from here. Carter Putz, Press Kavanaugh, Ben Malgiri. Those are the guys that have been getting it done for Harwich this season, and they're the next guys up.
It's that same part of the order that had a lot of success last time around, or not last time around, but back in the 4th inning. It was Newell and Wilkin who each had back-to-back hits, and then Putz had struck out after a lengthy at-bat, and then Kavanaugh and Malgiri each with back-to-back hits, a single and 3-run bomb, respectively. 2-1 count, fouled off. Count now evens out at 2-2.
Yeah, and Harwich has had an answer at every turn for Chatham so far. Chatham takes a 3-0 lead in the 4th. Harwich comes back with 4 in the bottom half of the same inning. Chatham comes and retakes the lead in the 6th. And right now, the Mariners holding a 7-5 lead with a 3-run inning of their own in the home half of the 7th.
And you're going to need some excellent defense if you're Harwich down the stretch, but we'll get there when we get there. As the 2-2 called strike 3, and we're getting there. We move now to the top of the 8th inning. Anglers back up to bat in a moment, but not before. The Mariners are able to put up 3 runs, and they now lead it 7-5 over Chatham. Back in a flash, you're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back in here to White House Field. Mariners looking to have a lockdown inning here as Liam Simon, he delivers a ball up high, and this was something we were watching during his warm-up pitches in between innings. He sailed 2 pitches up high as pitching coach Steve Gruenberg comes out now to have a conversation with his pitcher. And then another one that was high. Levens did catch it, but a lot of pitches high to open up this inning for Simon.
Well, there's a difference between missing up and just airmailing it over the head of your catcher. That's what we saw in warm-ups, and Coach Berger clearly saw the same thing. But again, it's just not – I don't understand what's happening right now. It could be an issue with the grip on the baseball, but field conditions are not wet enough for that to really be a problem. We haven't seen anybody else struggle, and when you see it happen twice in warm-ups, that's one thing. When his first offering to a live batter is also just airmailed over the catcher's head, it really makes you wonder what's going on out there. So Coach Berger having a word with him, hopefully not feeling any discomfort, but you really do kind of wonder. And, of course, tucked in the back of our minds as well, Bo Keithley likely up and ready to go whenever if Harwich should need him.
One of the things that I've heard, and now granted, I've never pitched at any sort of professional level, so take this with a grain of salt, if you will. But whenever you're airmailing pitches like that, it's largely because you're not completing your motion as another one sails up high, and it likely could be just a fatigue issue as he's releasing it a bit too early before he's actually able to finish his motion.
I mean, there is some truth to that, but you're also talking about a guy that's been pitching from a very young age, that pitches at one of the highest levels in D1 collegiate baseball. He's had so many reps that I don't know that that's the case. You wonder if he might be feeling some discomfort as this pitch misses well outside, but you also get in your own head a little bit as a pitcher when you start to miss pitches like this. And if this next one's outside of the zone, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a short end here to Liam Simon's outing.
The 3-0 pitch, and that one is up high. A 4-pitch walk from Liam Simon as pitcher in the bullpen warming up is Owen Cody, who has been the closer for these Mariners. We'll see what it'll take to get Simon out of this game, as that last at-bat did not look too good from him. 3 of the 4 were up high, and that ball 3 was one that skipped down in the dirt away. So none of those 4 pitches particularly close from Simon. And now you have Maxwell Romero, the catcher, who's gotten on base twice so far today, once with a walk, once with a single, up to bat.
Yeah, but again, I mean, this isn't something that Simon was struggling with earlier. It's not like we saw him missing these kinds of pitches, and I can't help but wonder. He got a strikeout to end the 7th inning. Clearly, he was still feeling okay then. You wonder if something may have happened. Maybe he sat for too long. It was kind of a long inning for Harwich, and I get the feeling something may not be feeling right for him out there on the mound, because again, this is very abnormal for a pitcher of his caliber. And now we're going to see another meeting at the mound, and Coach Englert is coming out. I think this might be the end here for Liam Simon.
Yeah, I think the way Harwich had scheduled those meetings had never really intended for Simon to see another batter, with Levens coming out to talk to him briefly, and then moments later, Levens and the entire infield, as well as Coach Englert, coming in to talk. They finally do end the day for Liam Simon. It will be Liam Cody coming in to try and get the 2-inning save. We'll bring you that in just a minute. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field here. Pitching change is complete. The day is done for Liam Simon. Went an inning and 2/3, did not give up a hit, walked 1, struck out 1. He is on the hook for the runner, and Lyle Miller Green standing over at first. the tying run, and Maxwell Romero Jr. stands at the plate now. And now on the mound for the Mariners is a guy who stepped into the closer role as of late, Owen Cody, the lefty out of Penn. Cody, so far this season, has been excellent as the ball that drifts inside. Count here 1-1. Cody, he has completed one save so far on the season. That was a 5-3 win at home against Wareham back on Monday, July 5th. As this 1-1 pitch, 89 in there for a strike. His last outing, a big one to help secure the tie against Wareham at Wareham. Came in the 9th inning, gave up just one hit, helped retire all three batters otherwise. So Coach Engler looking to him in a big spot here, and a big cut from Maxwell Romero Jr. Down he goes swinging. First strikeout from Cody.
Yeah, a couple of big things to note. I think it's good, obviously, that they get Liam Simon out of the game for a couple of reasons. The first is, obviously in a tight game like this, you don't want to risk anything on the scoreboard, but you also don't want to risk anything with the health of your pitcher. And I think it's important that after they saw what was going on, they got him out in a timely fashion, and now you have a guy that you really do trust here in Owen Cody looking to slam the door shut.
First pitch seen by Josh Rivera's fouled back. He's now got an 0-1 count. So Lyle Miller Green, again, is currently the responsibility of Liam Simon, who walked him on base after 4 errant pitches. And Simon really, he came out and he just did not look like himself. Really an interesting start to the inning for him. And now you have Cody as his second pitch misses, count 1-1.
There are a lot of guys that are put into big spots like this when you're talking about guys that settle into that closer role. And, it's interesting because a lot of them are super intense guys or, just really quiet guys. That's not the case for Owen Cody. Cody is one of the most laid-back, jovial guys out there as he gets a ball fouled away off to the right side. And you look at his personality, you wouldn't really think it, but the second he steps on the bump, he is just a different animal and certainly one of the more competitive, fierce pitchers in this league.
No, we've had plenty of chances to talk to him, and certainly is a laid-back guy. Clearly enjoys being around his teammates, all that. But you mentioned it. I mean, he has to lock it in when he's on the mound. He's got that closer mentality. As the 1-2 pitch fouled back here, Cody looking for his second strikeout in as many batters faced.
Yeah, and a guy that has a really unique set of, or not unique, but a really good set of pitches here. Fastball that's going to come in anywhere in the upper 80s, a curveball, a changeup, and he uses that mix really well. But he is also a guy that, again, he's not a super high volume strikeout guy. He trusts his defense.
Swing and a miss. Down goes the batter in Rivera. 2 strikeouts and 2 batters from Owen Cody. Both of them swinging. This will bring up the third baseman, Johnny Castagnazzi. Castagnazzi, we've seen some interesting things from him so far here today. Flew out to center to open up his day, but then had that bases clearing triple back in the 4th inning to drive in 2 runs. And then he displayed some power back in the 6th inning with some big hits that ended up going foul. Ultimately walked and got thrown out on a fielder's choice over at second, but he has shown a lot of power, and he does represent the tying run here for Chatham. Cody, the 1-0 pitch, delivers right over the strike zone, now 1-1, and that's something that we're seeing a lot from Cody. If he falls behind in a count, 1-0, he's right back at you with a strike, and he likes to even things up if he does fall behind. A 1-1 count, Cody delivers. Checking his swing was Castagnazzi. He holds off on it, now 2-1.
Yeah, and for a guy that, again, the scouting report comes into us, from the pitching coach, that he's a guy that's going to put it in the zone a lot. He's not a high-volume strikeout guy. 9 strikeouts in 5 innings. He's now up to 11. And he gets a swing and a miss here to even the count at 2-2. So, again, for all we heard about this preseason, he has certainly had his strikeout stuff working. Part of the reason that Coach Engler trusts him in these types of situations. And we talked to Coach E the other day. He said, look, in a situation like this, give me Owen Cody on the mound. And that's exactly where we're at.
The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. Strikeout number 3 in the inning. Owen Cody lighting it up on the mound, striking out each of the 3 batters he faces. We move now to the bottom of the 8th inning. Harwich is going to look to extend their lead before they try and close it out in the 9th. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here at White House Field, bottom of the 8th. Heart of the order due up for the Mariners. Carter Putz, Press Kavanaugh, Ben Malgeri. Each going to see time at the plate so far. They'll be facing a new pitcher in Zach Maxwell. Maxwell, the righty coming out of Oklahoma State. No, pardon me, Georgia Tech. So far this season for the Anglers, he's pitched in 4 games across 4 and 2/3, giving up 5 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned. He's walked 4. He has struck out 11. So he's got good strikeout numbers, as swinging there is Putz, but he does have a tendency to walk a few guys here and there. So Harwich, if they can be opportunistic again like they were back in that 7th inning, could be in line here to try and add a few more to their lead. The 1-1 pitch is in for a called strike. Count now 1-2. Putz so far on the day 0 for 3. He has struck out twice already, and a high changeup coming here from Maxwell. 81 miles an hour, misses. Count now 2-2.
Well, here's a number for you, Tim. Of the 21 outs recorded by Harwich Mariners hitters, 14 strikeouts. And yet they lead it on the scoreboard 7-5. It's just been kind of an all-or-nothing day at the plate individually for these guys, but you'll take it if you're the Mariners. They've done all of their damage in just 2 innings, 4 in the 4th, 3 more in the 7th, and so far that's all they've needed to stay ahead of a team that they're trying to put some distance between themselves down in the cellar of the East.
It is getting to that point in the season where you need to start looking for some kind of separation, as Carter Putz doesn't get a whole lot of separation from that baseball. He'll make his way down to first now after getting hit in the side. This will bring up Press Kavanaugh. now coming up to bat.
And that's just the best thing as a hitter when you do get hit by a pitch, but you're not taking a 96-mile-an-hour fastball to the back. You just kind of get brushed and take your base down onto first, and now Harwich, with nobody out and Press Kavanaugh at the plate, have an opportunity to potentially add some more insurance runs. And notably here, with Press Kavanaugh at the dish, it does look like Harwich keeping the DH spot active here, which means Jordan Beck likely going to be hitting for Max Codier.
That was one of the questions we were wondering in between the break as to whether or not they would hold on to that DH spot with all the defensive shifts that we thought were going to be coming. But in reality, Zach Preisner just slotted in for Jordan Beck, so who would have had to play second base in place of Max Codier. So an interesting flip in the infield there where Hughes typically seeing time at shortstop, or second rather, to Preisner's shortstop. Nonetheless, it's the Anglers in the infield. And standing on first still is Putz. Kavanaugh 1 for 3 on the day. Had a single back in the 4th inning. Did end up coming around to score. He was one of the 2 runners on base. He and Brock Wilkin back when Ben Malgiri sent one just shy of the scoreboard out in right. Did go far enough to clear the fence and gave the Mariners the lead back in the 4th inning. They since have lost it and reclaimed it. The 1-1 count, I believe, now here to Kavanaugh.
I don't think it's a stat that anybody in the league tracks, but I feel like Chatham pitchers check the runner back to first more than any other team in the league. We've seen a ton of this so far this season in just 2 games.
As the ball down low, and Harwich not necessarily a base-stealing team, so it is interesting you bring that up. Harwich on the season, 15 stolen bases. That's only good enough for the 7th greatest mark in the league. Of course, alternatively, 4th fewest. As Kavanaugh gets underneath one. Castagnazzi comes over to make the catch in foul territory. 1 away in the bottom of the 8th.
Yep, quick out recorded there, but here comes a guy who's been dealing damage all game long. Ben Malgiri, keep in mind, takes a run off the scoreboard by gunning a runner at home, puts 3 on the board for the Mariners with a 3-run home run, and then in the 7th inning, reaches on a walk and comes across to score on an RBI single by Josh Hood. It's been a very good day at the plate today for Ben Malgiri.
Especially, you think back to that home run, demonstrating some opposite field power, too. So a guy who really knows how to hit it. And in a position here to help drive putts around the bases. Malgiri, 1 for 2 with that walk. Come around to score twice. He's facing an 0-1 count here. Maxwell staring in. Nods. Time called. And we'll take a brief break. Not sure who called time. Didn't see the umpire point at any one body in particular. Nonetheless, pickoff attempt back to first, and that's going to get away. Going to second now is going to be Putz. That's going deep into the Angler bullpen. Putz isn't going to stop. He's going for third. He'll get there safely. A pickoff attempt that comes back to bite Chatham.
Yeah, talk about a great opportunity gone awry. And again, on that play, too, you saw Maxwell really ripped it over to first. I think he may have caught his own first baseman off guard a little bit. And fortunately, here at Harwich, one of the few parks in the league where there's no chance that that ball gets out of play unless it finds its way into the dugout. So it stays in the field of play. It rolls all the way back to the bullpen, and that allows 2 bags to be swiped here by Putz.
And just taking advantage of opportunities, Putz heads up base running to keep moving his way down to third as a big cut there from Malgiri puts him behind 0-2.
Yeah, Malgiri understands now that he has an opportunity for a sac fly. All you have to do is put one in the outfield. If it's down, obviously it scores a run, but if you put something out in the outfield, especially to right or center, you've got a decent chance of scoring Carter Putz.
The 0-2. Fouled off by Malgiri. Will have to do it again. So an interesting moment there for Chatham as they air the pickoff attempt to first. Really, as you mentioned, they offer more pickoff attempts than many other teams, at least that we've seen so far this season. And of course, the more you do that, the more chances there are for one to be botched as down swinging goes Malgiri.
Yep, first strikeout of the day issued here for Zach Maxwell, but You've got another guy who's been hitting well today, and Josh Hood due up next. His last 2 at-bats, he's reached on a single, including a big RBI back in the 7th to give the Mariners a tie ball game at the time. So, you know, mentioned that Hood may be stating his case for some more playing time. I'll tell you what, you put a 3 for 4 day with an RBI together, potentially another really chance here.
And a big cut on the first pitch he sees. It's 94. And it shakes up the catcher, Romero Jr. He takes his helmet off, takes a short lap behind home plate to recollect himself after that pitch. Again, 94 over the heart of the plate. Hood unable to catch up to it. Putz stands over on third base. Still brighter than it typically is at this point in a Mariners game as the count now moves to 1-1 on the high pitch. Again, this was a 5:30 start time. Typically, we're seeing 6:30, 7 o'clock start times here from White House Field.
Well, and the first couple of innings breezed by, but somehow this game's still approaching the 3-hour mark as this one gets across for a strike. So, you know, the Mariners credit them and credit Chatham as well. The offense has certainly picked up since it was 0-0 in a very quick first third of the game.
Yeah, it was certainly that 4th inning where Chatham put up 2 runs in the top half. Harwich, that big 4-run bottom half of the inning that slowed the pace of this game and has since turned it into a back and forth slugfest as the 1-2 pitch misses down low at 95 miles an hour, evens out at 2-2. There is an arm warming up in the Chatham bullpen. Whether or not it'll be used in this inning or a bottom half of the 9th remains to be seen, but down goes Hood swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts from Maxwell will end the inning, and it's winning time if you're Harwich, or at least that's the hope, as Owen Cody will come in and try to get the save. Don't go too far. A 7-5 lead for Harwich. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. To the 9th inning we go. Owen Cody still on the mound for Harwich, looking to close it out, looking to secure another save. Would be his 2nd of the season should he be able to retire these Chatham bats. Leading off for Chatham to try and get this rally going, it'll be Andrew Benefield, a pinch hitter for the Anglers. Would have been Michael Brown, but instead it is Benefield.
Yeah, and of course, Benefield, the guy that parked one over the tree line for the big grand slam that got the Chatham Anglers on the board. He falls behind 0-2 here, but they're hoping he can have a similar performance and try to give them some late life here, down by 2.
Benefield batting 176 so far this season. And the 0-2 pitch misses up high. On-base percentage sitting at about 300. Cody gets him to fan. Down goes Benefield. Strikeout number fourth straight strikeout swinging from Owen Cody.
Yeah, and on 3 pitches, no less. I mean, wasting no time. And, you know, the scouting report was that he puts it in the zone for his defense, but right now he's putting it in the zone for himself. Defense has been pretty uninvolved here since he's taken over.
And another pinch hitter coming in for the Anglers, Logan Britt. Britt, the righty, swings at a first pitch seen from Cody, 87 upstairs. 0-1 the count now.
Yeah, not a bad idea to replace the 2 bats in the lineup here in Michael Brown and Caden Trankel, who collectively didn't have a hit.
And a called strike for strike number 2. So Britt finding himself behind in the count. Another guy hitting in the 170s, 5 for 28 on the season. Third pitch misses outside at 89. Count goes to 1-2.
Looks like Danny Soretti is still standing in the on-deck circle right now for Chatham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Down goes Britt. Owen Cody has looked mean on the mound in this 9th inning so far.
Yeah, Cody looks like a man possessed right now. He is not wasting any time, and he's getting the job done. 1 out away from giving Harwich potentially their 2nd consecutive victory against an Eastern opponent, no less.
First pitch, big swing and a miss. And we're seeing a lot of first pitch misses from these Anglers bats. As the 0-1 pitch, this one is popped up. Charging in from right is Malgeri. He'll make the catch, and that ends the game. A 7-5 victory for the Mariners, and a 2-inning save for Owen Cody, who struck out 5 of the last 6 batters he faced to pick up the save. A big win for the Mariners, who, as you said, Tyler, moments ago, pick up ground in the East.
Yep, most definitely. Orleans off right now. The Bourne Braves up 10-2 on the YD Red Sox. You have to imagine that that would hold. This is going to give the Mariners an opportunity to jump a spot on the Firebirds. That is absolutely massive here for the M's, and a great overall win as well. Another close one, another complete effort here for the Harwich Mariners. Pitching, hitting, defense, getting it done on all 3 fronts.
All right, we'll be back in a moment just to break this one down. Don't go too far. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field. A victory here tonight for the Mariners. They beat the Chatham Anglers by the score of 7-5 here on a cloudy Saturday evening. Tim Foley here for your post-game show, and an excellent outing to close this one out from Owen Cody. 5 strikeouts of the 6 batters that he faced. The 1 non-strikeout, the flyout you saw there to end the game. To Ben Malgeri out in right, as that was another guy for the Mariners today who had a lot of success. Malgeri in a big way defensively back in the 4th inning, threw a strike to home all the way from right field to throw out Johnny Castagnazi at the plate. Throws him out, keeps a run off the board, and then in the bottom half of that inning, turns around and hits a 3-run bomb to give the Mariners the lead for the time being. But overall, a game that Harwich showed a lot of fight. They went behind early, 3-0, came back and put up a big number in the 4th inning with those 4 runs. Gave up 2 in the 6th inning thereafter, but then in the 7th, put up another 3 runs to put themselves ahead by 2. And then some lockdown defense, some lockdown pitching from Owen Cody to tie this one up. An excellent day, a well-rounded performance for the Mariners, something that we saw last game it felt as well against YD, where you had the pitching, you had the bats going, and it all ended up in your favor. You don't have to blow them out every time, and of course in a situation such as this one, you don't have to shut them out every time. Chatham did get 5 runs across, but when the bats are able to support the defense the way they did today, it's going to carry your team a long way, as Harwich certainly stepping up in a big way here today offensively, as this game now the second final today across the Cape League. Give you a brief rundown across the league. Of course, Brewster beating Katuitt earlier in this one, 5-3. Harwich topping Chatham 7-5. Wareham currently leads Hyannis 4-2 in the bottom of the 9th, and Bourne looks like they will try to lock up that game against YD. That game at Durham Park, top of the 8th inning. Bourne leading it 10-2. They'll look to lock that one up soon, and of course Orleans did not play today. So the standings, see if they are updated already, and they are. So Harwich now in a tie with Orleans. That will hold for the night. They each sit at 16 points, with Orleans having not played tonight due to poor field conditions. And Brewster, they do move into a tie with YD, so that race for the top of the division gets ever tighter as Harwich picks up 2 big points to separate, to put some separation between themselves and the bottom of the division in Chatham. What's coming up next for the Mariners? We'll take a look at that now, as they will head on the road tomorrow. Should be a 5 o'clock start time over at Stony Brook. They will be taking on the Brewster Whitecaps before then traveling on the road to face off again against these very Chatham Anglers. It'll be a 7 p.m. start time over at Veterans Field. Then a bit of a homestand after the brief road trip. They'll face Katuitt at home and then Orleans at home this Tuesday and Wednesday. So that should do it for our broadcast here this evening. Final lines: Chatham with 5 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Mariners with 7 runs on 8 hits and just 1 error. For my broadcast partner Tyler Henry and our entire production crew here at White House Field, Matt Lucy doing the pushing of the buttons. We'll be back with you tomorrow evening for our radio call. Thank you so much for watching our coverage of Mariners baseball this evening. We'll catch you next time.